Hello, my beautiful blossoms, blooms, and buds. Welcome to my book garden. Actually, kind of more of a plushy garden at this point, but still a garden. I'm Rosebud Reads, and welcome back to the 6th session of Book 2 for the Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish. Hello, Chi-Chi Kiki. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well. I notice you have a new icon. Very nice. Hello, Annika. How you doing today? I'm glad you're doing good, Chi-Chi-Kiki. This is a very chill live stream, if you couldn't already tell. I will be talking with the chat, and I will be talking with the book. I'm doing well. Not as beat up this time, so we should be able to finish the whole book tonight. Hello, Peacock Pages. Welcome. How you doing today? Yeah, I was just really tired Thursday, but I am feeling much more awake today. So we should have just a fine time and actually finish book 2 today. Oh, yay! I'm super excited that you're caught up with us. And you'll get to be in the stream tonight. I hope. Hello, Truffle. And thank you. I'm glad I'm doing well too, Annika. How are you doing today, Truffle? Thank you. Glad everyone seems to be doing well today. But yeah, it was an okay day. I'm actually excited. So for 2 reasons. This arrived today, and well, I've read the series. Like I've read the entire manga series online, but like there's something special about having it in your hands. And they colored everything so beautifully. Like it's gorgeous. Like I'm so excited like that we're almost there. Like we have reached the point of where we have cover art for the final volume of this. And yes, the volumes are so pretty. They colored it so nicely. I love that it's full color. And everything. Hello, Momars Rover. How are you doing today? But then also, if it wasn't one of those obvious things, I love Halloween, and September is coming up, which I view as the acceptable time where you can actually start putting up some stuff for Halloween. I mean, it's still a little early, but like that's the acceptable range. To be fair, I did get a little upset that I already see candy in stores right now, just because, like, come on. Like, stale candy, I know it's because people will buy it before then and eat it and then all that, but I'm just like, give it a little time. But I'm guilty of it, so I actually have bought some spooky season items, and you might see them popping up in the background around as they arrive. But yeah, you get a little annoyed at the Halloween creep, but you do like the vibe. No, yeah. So I got excited. I ordered some things, mostly things for outside, but a couple things for here. So watch for that. It'll be like an Easter egg. But yeah. Right? How dare they have cute stuff? I was so tempted to buy one of those cute ghost rugs, the ones that are adorable looking. I did not. I had a little self-control, but I was very tempted, and it's a high probability it might appear at some point. I'm being honest with myself. It's a high probability it's going to appear at some point, but not today. But anyway, if anyone else has anything they want to add in the chat, I love it when people make comments while I'm reading. or even after I finished reading, like, just this was hilarious, I love this part. Feel free. I love seeing it. Pumpkin spice latte right now. That's okay. Gotta have at least one during the season or multiple. All good. You might have given in and bought a considerable amount of Halloween decor. I have stuff in the attic that I will bring down, but like we gotta refresh it. I bought some like 5-foot ghosts for outside. Oh yeah, I was bad and I went on AliExpress. So my wallet is significantly lighter right now, but I bought some stuff that I literally don't think I could have found elsewhere, including some Wangxian teacups, like official merch teacups, which I have no idea where that pop-up sale was, but they're coming in like 2 months. So if they are broken, I will actually cry. Yeah. It has their faces and then a bunny on the back of it. But like boy. Yeah. Was it just me or was the whole house of Chang'an trying to court Liu? Yeah. They're just good people. They have good taste. Yeah. No, you're not the only one that thought that, Truffle. Apparently also there's going to be a Lan Yuan, Lan Shizui plush that's coming out that's also a pre-release, so that found its way into my cart as well. Thank God it's payday soon. Yay, payday. Anyway, other than my bad fiscal responsibilities, right? They also have a Jiangchong that's a pre-order. I wasn't as excited about that one. Like no hate, but like Baby Yuan versus Jiangchong, I know who my preference is. Baby boy. Baby boy wins every time. No. Yeah. Yeah. The last thing I got to or added that I'm not going to see this stuff for months, but the whole cucumber and hot dog Bing Shen Bing Chu stuff. Yeah, this was on AliExpress. Can show you real quick. I actually took pictures because I was so excited. So these are the cups. So this is Lan Wanji. And then this is the Wei Wuxian. And then these are the back images. Like, right? Like, it popped up and I was like, oh no. Because I was looking for something else that was a gift for a friend. And I was just like, oh no. Oh, my wallet. So suffice to say there's that, and then let me find Baby Yuan real quick. Baby Yuan. Where are you? But oh, this one too. I ended up buying I think it's a pin of this. Pin of this one. Right? I found that. So of course. Yeah. I found I found these, which you never find Scumville and stuff, so of course I got that. And then here's Baby Ayuan. There he is. How could I not? Right? It's super cursed. And then for those interested, here's the Jiangcheng. Yeah. It's a pre-order. I don't think it ships. Will ship in 35 days. So you will start seeing it somewhat soon. Yeah, I'm not gonna see some of this other stuff for like months. So that's okay. I can wait. But yeah, so paycheck is looking pretty nice right now. I mean, I've got bills to pay, but who doesn't? Um, I do search by series, yes. And it's Mo Dao Zhu Shi with spaces. Mo space Dao space Zhu space Shi. And that's how I found the stuff. Yeah. A lot of the Scum Villain stuff is just under Scum Villain. Yeah, no. One of the shipments that I sent to Kichter, I paid like $40 to ship it, and it got there, and they wanted me to pay $150 to deliver it, and I said no. So that's being sent back to me. It's a crazy time to be alive. Yeah, I'm not paying that. Love them, love Kichter and Stitch, but I'm not paying that. That's absolutely insane. Yeah. I mean, maybe if it's if you mark it as under $40, like I got a package through, I still had to pay like an additional $30 just to get it delivered, but it was not anywhere near as crazy. But yeah. Oh, it's a crazy time to be alive. Hopefully things will get better and figured out. But as of right now, no more fun boxes. Kichter will have to do without Kelpico for a while. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of grateful that Amazon isn't insane right now. Yeah, definitely. Maybe like letters. They probably would really appreciate letters or something small, but maybe not packages right now. Hello, Esper Lady. We're still just chatting, so you haven't really missed anything. Just me being monetarily irresponsible, and showing off things that probably won't arrive for a couple months. And when they get here, I will also be gushing about them. So don't you worry. No, but today we will actually finish book 3. So that's exciting. Or book 2. We will move on to book 3 on Thursday, which also means we get to open another demo. Yes, it is very exciting. All right, so I think that's really all I have that's like new in my life. Other than like, oh, one last thing. Apparently, if any of you also struggle with like trimming your pet's toenails, one, the electric filers work a lot better than trying to clip them. And also, if your pets happen to be very fond of a certain food, that's a godsend. My dog is super bougie, and apparently our trick to it where he doesn't go absolutely feral, and I wish I was kidding, is salmon. So I have a very bougie boy who got some salmon yesterday to trim his claws, and that was exciting because prior to that, like, we've literally had to sedate him, and even then it was a fight just to get his nails done. So apparently he just has high class taste. And I am still incredulous about what it takes to trim his toenails, so I had to share it. He's ridiculous. But he's mine. It is. He's a very soft and silky boy. He's so spoiled. He definitely has it figured out. He has become such a food hound. But on that note, now that we have talked about my pet, let's talk about the Tyrant's pet. His beloved pet. Okay. So I think, yes, it's the marriage. It is Yi-Shizi's marriage, right? Nice transition. Thank you. So today, Chang'an Manor was bustling with people and draped in color and lanterns. The king of Jinju had come to attend the wedding, as well as friends and relatives of the Duke of Chang'an, and plenty of court officials. Head eunuch Luo brought the emperor's edict along with large amounts of gifts. It took a while just to read the list of gifts. The king of Jinju loved this daughter of his, and her wedding procession was over 5 kilometers long. Wow. Her dowry was at least 100 boxes. So, fun fact about dowries. So, in ancient China, the dowry actually did not get added into the household registry, like as funds to be used elsewhere. It was solely for the person's personal use. You could not actually touch a woman's dowry without her permission. So it was her personal protection going in. Yes. I believe that is correct. I might be wrong, but to my understanding, if you actually messed with a woman's dowry or were embezzling from their dowry, it actually would be brought before, like, the court officials. Like, it would actually be a trial, and you would be found guilty. So that was kind of one of the few protections that women had in ancient China, was over their dowry. So I thought that's pretty cool. So she's got a lot of backing right now. Right? Prince Jing and Li Yu were welcomed by the groom, Yi-Shizi. Prince Jing nodded at the Duke of Chang'an, who was sitting on the main seat. The current Duke of Chang'an was Empress Xiao Huai's brother, Prince Jing's uncle. Oh, uncle! Jinling's uncle? What? Yeah, it's super interesting. Well, and that's why it was such a big thing if someone, like, in some intrigue stories where if they found out that they were embezzling someone's dowry, like, that's why it's such a big deal, is because, like, that is one thing you did not do. Prince Jing's aunt, the Duchess of Cheng'an, was also attending to the guests. When she saw Prince Jing had brought a young man with him as his partner, her eyes were full of smiles. Soon, a servant girl came and handed Li Yu a pair of jade butterflies. Smiling, she said, "My lady thanks you for coming to attend the celebration and also wishes the two of you happiness together forever." Wow. Liu accepted the butterflies, then saw the Duchess of Cheng'an smiling at him from a distance. The charm offensive. He was confused. Wasn't it Yi Qinghuan's wedding today? Why were they saying that to him and Prince Jing? Unless, Liu suddenly realized. Did Prince Jing bring him along today so he could meet his family? He covered his face. It was too sudden. He wasn't prepared at all. This was such a happy surprise. Yeah, usually you want to give a little more warning before introducing someone to the family, but you know, he's got to trick his boy toy fish man into meeting the family. Oh yeah. Do you remember what time we started reading? I was not paying. I'll figure that out. I'm gonna put down 16. Okay, 16. Surprisingly, we are still at 5 yeets. We will see what the count goes to for book 3. But anyway, chapter 70, Meeting the Family. Yi Qinghuan wore scarlet wedding robes, a smile bright on his face. The princess of Jinju was draped in a veil embroidered with mandarin ducks playing in the water. So, two mandarin ducks playing in the water is a proverb used to describe loving couples. Mandarin ducks are a traditional symbol of romantic love and fidelity. Yeah. I think there's something about chickens too. I can't remember off the top of my head though. She was holding a jade vase and ruyi. So the scepter thing. Right? Cultural footnotes are so much fun. And if any of the things that I say, if you have any information on it too, like feel free to leave it in the comments. I love learning new things or having people add to it. I love cultural aspects of history. It's so fascinating. That and folktales, they tell so much about a civilization and a people. That's one of my nerd aspects is the different cultural aspects of folktales and history. If you couldn't tell. Anyway, although her face was hidden, while the couple took their bows, there was just a glimpse of her bright red lips smiling. Liu watched as the young couple performed their wedding vows, feeling emotional. Partially thanks to his help, these two were able to break through the original plot of the novel and be together. He hoped that they could be happy and at peace, safe and healthy. This was a good sign. The other pair from the book was now different too. He couldn't help but sneak a glance at Prince Jing, only to find that he was already looking at him. The two of them felt for each other's hands underneath their sleeve. Chickens because they were useful and show you can provide, geese to show hunting prowess, and also because they're monogamous. Geese also used to be used as basically like guard dogs for a lot of cultures. They would both alert and were territorial and would defend both other animals as well as their own property. So that's kind of cool too. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of chickens show up. They're still very good dog. That's a very fair point. They are still used as guard animals in a lot of places. Or just for soccer fields when you're trying to go play and there's 20 geese and it becomes a thing trying to get them off. You like when they hiss? It's a very interesting sound, yes. Liu made a wish with his heart. The wedding proceeded smoothly, with the Duke of Chang'an hosting. Soon after, an older servant came to tell Prince Jing that there was an old acquaintance who wanted to see him. As soon as Prince Jing saw who the servant was, he knew who was summoning him. His hand tightened around Liu's. Did this mean that Prince Jing wanted him to come along? As Liu followed, Prince Jing had one hand on his and one hand on the crystal bottle. Even though Liu knew it was ridiculous, he still felt a little jealous. Who did Prince Jing like better, him or the fish? If he had to compete against any other human, he wouldn't be worried at all. But against the fish... After all, Prince Jing had turned his entire manor into a huge tank for the fish. He'd done many things he'd never done before for the fish's sake. And as Li Gonzi, he was tasked with taking care of the fish. Even all the accessories he was given were fish. When he thought of it like that, it was a little terrifying. Could it be that all those fish gifts weren't because his name meant fish, but because he came second to the fish? I love that he's thinking this, and he is the fish. Makes it kind of funny. He's not worried about other people, just his fish-ona. Right? No, he had to know for sure. If Prince Jing dared to like the fish more, he'd never let him hear the end of it. It's really funny. In an instant, it was like Liu had been overtaken by the god of jealousy. He'd completely forgotten that his new nemesis was in fact himself. Love Liu! Prince Jing had no idea what Xiao Yu was thinking about next to him. The two of them held hands as they walked into the back garden of Chang'an Manor. In the depths of the flower bushes, an elderly man with snowy white hair was warming a pot of wine on a little stove made of red clay. Prince Jing pursed his lips and walked forward with Liu. These two get into the most ridiculous jealous spirals. It's very human, though, isn't it? Like, they have a very healthy relationship, but then question the little things where it's like, I know I like him, but this person seems to like him too, and I don't like that. But oddly enough, it's been over themselves, which makes it even funnier. Yep. You're here. When the elder saw the two of them, he wasn't at all surprised. He casually pointed to two chairs before him and said, smiling, "Come sit." Yeah, the little chub's bit was pretty funny. Prince Jing bowed respectfully and sat down with Liu. Oh, we got a picture. There's his grandpa. I love how, like, just neutral Prince Jing looks there, and Liu is like, huh? Right? He looks like a sweet dude. Look at his little, like, he's smiling. Like, he's like, hello, my grandson. Oh, you brought your boyfriend. Yes. Yeah, he is. Like, you could tell he's old, but, like, he's still got it going on. Like, for an old person. Leo was just wondering who this elderly man might be when he suddenly smelled the scent of green plum wine. He'd heard all the green plum wine in Chang'an Manor was made by the old Duke of Chang'an, so who else could it be? It was Yi Qinghuan's grandfather, Prince Jing's grandfather, the old Duke of Chang'an. Suddenly excited, Liu got up to bow. Hello. In the book, this elderly man was the backbone of the House of Chang'an, but due to his health, he had never officially appeared. After disaster had befallen Yi Qinghuan, he'd passed away from illness. Now that Yi Qinghuan and the princess were getting married, however, the old Duke of Chang'an was fine too. Liu never thought he'd get to see the man in person. He truly was meeting Prince Jing's family. I love that he's excited about that. He's like, this is really special. Qian glanced at the youth, smiling, and then at Prince Jing. What a nice man. Yi Qian gestured for Li Yu to sit. He considered himself to be very good at reading people. It was easy to see what kind of personality a youth at this age had with just a glance. You've decided, Your Highness? Yi Qian asked Prince Jing. Prince Jing nodded, expression serious. Yi Qian didn't ask him to justify himself. Then I've made my decision too, he said, still smiling. I will do everything I can to help Your Highness. They looked at each other for a while. With both calmness and gratitude in his eyes, Prince Jing poured more wine for Yi Qian and some for himself. They both drank as though they'd come to some sort of agreement. What do you think it is? I think we know, but I'm curious what you all think. Liu didn't know what they were talking about, and this wasn't the kind of situation where he could just butt in. So instead, he pushed his own bamboo cup in front of Prince Jing. Fish couldn't think about things that were too complicated, but he could at least taste the wine, right? Ooh, even at a wedding there's maneuvering. Of course. This is political intrigue. Yi Qian and Prince Jing both paused. Yi Qian held back his laughter, ready to sit back and watch. Prince Jing glanced at Liu, then filled Liu's cup. But just when Liu had happily picked up the cup to have a sniff, Prince Jing stole the bamboo cup from his hand and drank all of it. Your Highness, that's my wine, Liu objected quietly. The prince had poured it into the cup he'd claimed, so it was his. Prince Jing shook his head, smiling. He couldn't let the carp spirit get drunk outside. Just a whiff of the scent was enough. Liu mumbled in complaint. Meanwhile, Yi Qian drank leisurely, keeping out of it. A calm, silent youth with a lively and enthusiastic one. He was happy to see this couple together. He'd seen Yi Qinghuan with the Princess of Jinju as well. They were also good kids, just like these two. Yeah, he's watching out for Liu, but that was kind of a sly trick he played right there, letting him sniff it, but then stealing it away. When he saw the pair of jade butterflies Liu was holding, Yi Qian smiled even wider and got out the jade pendants he'd been given when he got married. Meeting your boyfriend's family isn't hard at all, Liu thought, clutching the jade pendant and butterflies. They're all giving him gifts, and I kind of love it. They're like, I like you. Have this priceless family treasure heirloom that I received when I got married. Like, I think you'll be good for this boy. To be honest, he had always been worried that Prince Jing's family would be against them. After all, he and Prince Jing were in a gay relationship. Weren't they worried about Prince Jing's future? He was friendly with Yi Qinghuan and the princess already, so they didn't count. But the old Duke of Chang'an and Duchess of Chang'an had all seemed to take a shine to him immediately, giving him gifts. When Prince Jing wasn't paying attention, the old Duke of Chang'an had secretly told Liu that he'd give him a few jugs of good wine next time. Sob, what's with this huge sense of responsibility I'm feeling right now? Alright, next time we will do a sob count as well. I will put it over here and mark it down, because, yeah. They're like, Tianqi finally likes someone. Better make sure he stays. Lock it down! Lock it down! After meeting the family and being treated well, he had to treat Prince Jing even better now. See, it's working. Seeing Xiao Yu's sudden serious expression, Prince Jing really wanted to pinch his cheeks. Naturally, no one in the House of Chang'an would disapprove of them. Prince Jing was long past the age to get married and have a child, but there still hadn't been a single person he was close to. Now that he finally had someone he liked, they were all delighted and wished everything could be made official for Prince Jing right away. They really are like, lock it down. But Prince Jing's marriage had to be approved of by the emperor. Taking Xiao Yu to see his family at Cheng'an Manor was the most he could do for now. Yi Qinghuan's marriage made Prince Jing, who was never jealous, feel a little jealous. Speaking of jealousy, Prince Jing had no hesitations. Of course he would marry Xiao Yu. But he had to think about when to let the emperor know and when to ask the emperor for Xiao Yu. Especially now that the old Duke of Cheng'an was on his side. He was the noble Dai's son and constantly faced judgment and questioning throughout his life, sometimes even assassination attempts. He was used to this and did what he had to in order to survive. But after the House of Cheng'an had almost come to harm, and then several of the princes had tried to do something to his fish, Prince Jing realized he couldn't protect the people around him by keeping to himself. That's really sad when you think about it. When you literally are doing your best to just live your life, like, and survive, and even that's not enough. So to the point of where you're like, okay, I actually have to step into this ring in order to have a peaceful life. Like, you can't just be left alone. That sucks. Because he would totally be happy just chilling with his fish and having his extended family be safe and out of the maneuvering. Like, yeah, couldn't be me. Yeah, I'm not so good at the subterfuge either, Annika. So, I would not do well. I'd do well at the you're not touching my family. Like, I will physically gut you, but like the subterfuge aspects would probably have me dying of poison very quickly. Um, he couldn't trust any of the other princes. If he wanted to protect the people he wanted, then he had to become the emperor. Due to the disability he was born with, he still had a long way to go, and the path might be filled with danger. Before he could finally achieve a safe, peaceful life, he had to do anything he could to avoid involving Xiao Yu, as he couldn't bear to think of risking him. So for now, he could only date Xiao Yu. He couldn't confirm Xiao Yu's status. But one day, he'd give Xiao Yu everything he deserved. That's why you build up an immunity to poisons. Why, hello, Mao Mao. Welcome to the chat. That's true, though. A lot of the princes in the olden days did do that, along with the poison testing. Liu tucked the jade butterfly and pendant away in his robes. Your Highness, I want to walk around by myself for a bit, then I'll head back on my own, he said. Since they'd made their agreement, Liu was putting much less effort into his excuses. It didn't matter. Prince Jing wasn't ever going to ask. Prince Jing watched as he walked to the edge of the garden and behind some trees. Liu quickly transformed back to a fish, then slid back over on his tail. The crystal bottle was just behind Prince Jing. With Prince Jing blocking his line of sight, the old Duke of Cheng'an wouldn't see anything. Would we technically call this a yeet? Should I do half a yeet? Prince Liu jumped quietly into the crystal bottle. I'm counting it as a yeet. We haven't had a yeet in a while, so I want a yeet. One yeet. It counts. There we go. Yeah, that's fair. Liu quietly jumped into the crystal bottle. Although Prince Jing wasn't looking directly at the fish, he knew Liu had made his way safely back when he heard the quiet splash behind him. Qian was in high spirits and ordered someone to bring over a Weiqi set. Last time I played against your highness, you hadn't moved out of Jingtai Hall yet, he said, smiling. I was ordered to go see you by the emperor. So many years have passed in the blink of an eye. Prince Jing nodded, gesturing for his grandfather to play white and that he would play black. Liu swam to the mouth of the bottle, carefully leaning against the side. Perhaps the two of them had spoken so mysteriously before because he was there. But even now that he was gone, the two focused on the game instead, and Liu learned even less. Liu only knew how to use Go sets for games that weren't Go, so he didn't understand what was going on at all. Very quickly, he became sleepy. Oh, simple, simple Liu. Prince Jing kept an eye on his fish. As soon as he felt the fish drifting off, about to tip over back into the bottle, Prince Jing quickly found a way out of the difficult match. Soon, the winner and the loser were clear. Yi Qian rubbed his chin. Your Highness, your aura is very different from before. Is it because of him? Prince Jing just smiled casually in response. Protecting oneself was different from protecting someone else. Ain't that the truth? Yi Xian rarely got a chance to see Prince Jing and wanted to continue their conversation, but a servant suddenly came to announce that the emperor was here. Yi Qian immediately went to greet him with Prince Jing. The emperor was wearing a set of casual robes, and he was only accompanied by the head of the imperial guard as he came to Chang'an Manor in person. Originally, there had been no need for the emperor to show up to Yi-Shizi and the princess of Jinju's wedding. He just had to make sure his gifts arrived. But, due to the mess the second prince had created, the emperor had to reassure and comfort the king of Jinju, so he'd come to visit personally to show how much he cared about this marriage. The Duke and Duchess of Chang'an and all the officials kneeled down, greeting the emperor. The emperor waved an arm cheerfully. Continue with the wedding. I'm just here for a cup of wine. Joyfully beaming, he sat down to speak with the king of Jinju for a while. Gradually, the guests started to relax. I really like this emperor. He's got a little more of that chill vibe. He can be business when it's time for business, but he also has a bit more family man aspect that I really, really appreciate. Yi Qian and Prince Jing walked into the main hall one after the other and bowed to the emperor. Yi Qian's health had been declining these past few years, so he rarely entered the palace. Seeing Yi Qian as well as Prince Jing beside the new young couple at their wedding, the emperor couldn't help thinking about his past with Empress Xiao Huai. I also love that he really loved the empress. It wasn't just political. That makes me happy. Since Yi Qian had already agreed to help Prince Jing, he needed to fully utilize the advantages Prince Jing had. The Empress's rooms are still maintained here at the manor, he said. Does your majesty want to take a look? The emperor rarely came to Chang'an Manor since Empress Xiao Huai had passed away, mostly because he was afraid it would hurt too much. But at that moment, he couldn't help but nod. And as Prince Jing was Empress Xiao Huai's only son left in this world, the emperor asked him to come along. Prince Jing still carried the bottle with him. When he took a glance, the emperor was briefly speechless. It's only been a short while, and your fish has changed this much? The emperor recalled the letter Prince Jing had sent, specifically reporting the changes in his fish. But reading it in a letter was completely different than seeing it. The last time the emperor saw the fish, it was still black with flecks of gold. Now the entire fish was a different color. No wonder the Emperor took a while to react. It looks like Liao Kong was right, he said. It really is part koi. The Emperor walked closer, looking at the fish in the bottle. Afraid the Emperor would find something amiss, Liu was too afraid to even blow a bubble. He put on an elegant mine, trying to pretend to be an emotionless koi. He's acting coy. Oh! that was a bad joke. I'm sorry. Good thing the fish wasn't the main character today. Soon the Emperor followed the old Duke of Cheng'an to Empress Xiaohuai's old rooms. The rooms Yi Qian spoke of had belonged to Empress Xiaohuai. it was a bad joke, but I'm glad you laughed. I love puns. The rooms Yi Qian spoke of had belonged to Empress Xiaohuai before she got married. The Emperor led Prince Jing inside, seeing all the decor that was so similar to Changchun Palace. Yes, I'm glad you all are enjoying it. The Emperor's vision started to go blurry. He sat down and began to tell Prince Jing a few stories about Empress Xiaohuai. Li Yu was in the crystal bottle, so he had a lower angle than everyone else. While the Emperor saw many familiar decorations, Li Yu saw a portrait of a servant girl on the wall. Because this was Empress Xiaohuai's rooms, Li Yu guessed she must have painted it herself. Prince Jing was good at painting too. Did he inherit the skill from his mother? It wasn't impossible. Liu looked at the painting for a while before his gaze landed on an unobstructive wardrobe beneath where it hung. At the corner of the wardrobe, an old plush was sticking out. Liu thought it looked a bit familiar. After he'd stared at the black and yellow plush for a while, Liu realized with a start, wait, wasn't this the cloth tiger he'd seen in the secret the system had shown him? Although there was no way to confirm if this was the exact same one, it was very similar. And the tiger in the memory had only been half sewn, but this one was clearly already completed. Did the secret have something to do with Emperor Xiaohuai? But Liu was very sure the room in the secret wasn't the one, but one in the palace. Could it be Empress Xiaohuai Changchun Palace? Liu had never been, so he had no way of knowing. All he could do was stare at the tiger in frustration. Suddenly, he had an idea. Oh boy. The fish tapped at the glass in the direction of the tiger. Prince Jing noticed Liu's urgency at once, and he walked over and found the cloth tiger in the wardrobe. He thought about it, and then took it out. The Emperor smiled. Your mother loved things like this. She made some for you back then, too. There are many in Changchun Palace. Do you still remember? Prince Jing nodded slightly. The Emperor's words were like fireworks, instantly exploding inside Liu's head. The secret was Prince Jing's secret. Even Prince Jing remembered the tiger plush. It really must be at Changchun Palace. What kind of secret was this? Chapter 71. Fishy Messing Up Plans. Trying to figure out more about the secret, Liu pressed against the walls of the bottle, but that was all the Emperor had to say about it. Everything else he said was about Empress Xiaohuai's other interests and hobbies. Liu knew that due to Empress Xiaohuai, the Emperor always had a soft spot for Prince Jing. He'd even given Prince Jing a job recently, and it seemed he intended to rely on him. If Liu couldn't figure out the secret right now, maybe it was because it wasn't time yet. Right now, the Emperor and Prince Jing were alone together. It was a good opportunity to kindle their father-son relationship. As a result, Liu tried to be unobstructive, listening quietly as the Emperor told stories to Prince Jing. Without realizing it, the Emperor went on for a while. When he emerged from his reminiscence, he smiled and said, Tianxi, do you think I talk too much? The emperor's mouth was upturned, but his eyes were distant. As an emperor and father, he rarely showed such a sorrowful side to his sons. Prince Jing shook his head, reached out hesitantly, and patted the emperor on the back of the hand. This was also very rare, but Prince Jing's gaze showed how much he cared for the emperor. The emperor was very comforted by this gesture. I love that they actually have, some sort of relationship. In the sense of it actually being a relationship, not just, yes, father. Tianxi, I know you're very good. Sheng Jing has told me all about your performance at the Ministry of Works. You're doing well. The emperor patted Prince Jing on the shoulder. He was about to say something else when a guard came to report. Your Majesty, the sixth prince is here to congratulate the couple. The emperor glanced at Prince Jing, who was standing next to him. The house of Chang'an was Prince Jing's family. It was natural that he attend Yi-Shizi and the Princess of Jinju's wedding. What did this marriage have to do with the sixth prince? The sixth prince wasn't family or friend, nor was he an important official of the court. What was he doing here? Not to mention, if the sixth prince really was here to celebrate, why didn't he come earlier like the rest of the guests? Why did he only arrive when the wedding was about to end? The emperor only came so late because he didn't want to alarm anyone. Why did Mu Tianxiao come even later? I love that he was thoughtful enough of that, I don't want to steal the spotlight and I don't want to make people uncomfortable because I'm the emperor. I want the focus to be on them. It's their wedding. I love that he actually had that thought process. Because it's true. It's their wedding. Coming to celebrate was probably an excuse. The real reason was that he wanted to show himself in front of the emperor. The emperor saw through the sixth prince and said impassively, The Duke of Chang'an will take care of him. Let him be. He wasn't in the mood to see the sixth prince. The emperor spoke a bit more with Yi Qian and then decided to return to the palace. He also kept the security nice and unobtrusive. That is true. That's very true, Truffle. This time, the sixth prince sent word that he'd like to escort the emperor back. The emperor agreed this time. He took Prince Jing along with him. When Mu Tianxiao saw that Prince Jing was with the emperor, he froze. Liu was with Prince Jing, as always. When Liu saw the sixth prince's shock, he happily shook his tail. So what? We're not going to just let you have the emperor. With sharp eyes, Liu noticed a slender woman standing next to the sixth prince wearing a pomegranate-colored pleated dress. The woman was wearing a veiled hat that covered her face, but even through the veil one could see her eyes that sparkled like water. Her hands, peeking out from her sleeves, were like jade. Although no one could see what she looked like, everyone wondered what kind of beauty was under that veil. Liu didn't know who this woman was, but the sixth prince had already tried using the third prince to shove people into someone else's houses. This was clearly Yi-Shizi's wedding, but he'd brought a beautiful woman, and he came right after the emperor, so that was clearly why he was here. Perhaps the sixth prince wanted to give this woman to the emperor. Liu remembered that in the original book, when the fight for the throne had gotten to a boiling point, the sixth prince had given the emperor an unknown beauty as a concubine. She had said a lot of good things about the sixth prince to the emperor in private, which Prince Jing couldn't compete with. The plot was a complete shambles. Were they here already? He had to find a way to mess it up. That was what the fish was good at. The sixth prince has zero sense of timing. He really doesn't. Like, he's trying his best, but he's not getting anywhere. Like, you almost feel a little bad for him if he wasn't, like, plotting to harm people. But, like, it's just sad. like, oh, buddy. Nice try, but no. As Liu was thinking of a plan, he heard Mu Tianxiao say, "A royal father, it's a long trip back to the palace. I just so happen to have brought a servant talented at massages, and she would be honored to serve you." Seems like Mu Tianxiao still had some shame. He and Chu Yanyu have the same problem, really. Their plans always misfire or come off at the wrong time. I could see that, yeah. He didn't announce in broad daylight that he'd brought a beauty for his father and ask him to accept her. He just said she was a servant who could give him massage. Whether or not he wanted to keep or use her was up to the emperor. He's a lot smarter than the stupid third prince. Liu was with Prince Jing right next to the emperor. He had a bit of reservation in front of the emperor. He couldn't just burst out of the bottle. He thought perhaps he could flip over again. Prince Jing would definitely ask the emperor to summon someone to see to the fish if he did, and perhaps if there were more people here, the emperor would forget about the beauty that the sixth prince had brought. Deciding on his plan, Liu decided to put it into action. But as a koi, he wasn't the same as before. He was being taken care of a little too well now, so it was more difficult to flop over than to just slide around everywhere. Liu was huffing with frustration as he tried to lean to the side. He'd yet to flip completely over when the emperor said in shock, "Tianxi, why is your fish a little tilted to the side?" Actually, Prince Jing had noticed as soon as the fish started moving, but Xiao Yu hadn't had anything to drink, nor had anyone touched him. Nothing was wrong. Prince Jing suspected that Xiao Yu was doing this on purpose to get his attention, the same way he kept knocking on the bottle in Empress Xiao Huai's room, so he thought Xiao Yu wanted him to notice something. But unexpectedly, the emperor was also staring at his fish. Before Prince Jing could react, the emperor already said, "There seems to be something wrong with Prince Jing's fish. Guards!" The emperor ordered the imperial guards to fetch the imperial physician they'd brought along. Liu was taken aback. Why did it feel like the emperor was more worried than Prince Jing? Now he was afraid to flip over completely. He had to maintain this angle, which was unfortunately even harder than flipping over. The two imperial physicians rushed over. Regardless of whether or not they knew how to take care of a fish, they had to try in front of the emperor. They looked at the fish for a while, and then they discussed it amongst themselves even longer. After the sixth prince had made his offer, his smile remained plastered on his face. Even though he was more capable than the third prince, he was still experiencing the same neglect and awkwardness the third prince had gone through. In the end, the physician said Liu might have eaten too much and there was nothing wrong with him. With that, Liu cooperated and straightened out his body. He pushed through the water with his fins slowly, puffing up his cheeks, looking like he really was too full to corroborate with the physician's diagnosis. "Since the fish is fine," said the emperor, "I'll be returning to the palace. I just need Prince Jing to accompany me." His expression was a bit dark. The sixth prince? The massage servant? He only mentioned Prince Jing and no one else. I think the emperor's got a little bit of a plot. He's like, "I see what you're doing, sixth prince," and I say no. Not today. Liu thought the emperor was mad, but at who? He was a little worried. When no one noticed, Prince Jing put a finger in the bottle, petting the fish's back to calm him down. True, Liu thought. Prince Jing was right here with him. What was there to worry about? The emperor returned to the palace in his imperial carriage. Prince Jing rode behind him on a horse. Before they entered the palace, the emperor stopped and looked into the crystal bottle. Tianqi, I must thank your fish for today. Liu had been listening in this whole time. Huh? Why was the emperor thanking him? So the emperor was mad, but who was he mad at? The Sixth Prince? Why? The Sixth Prince had only come to do one thing, present a beauty to the emperor. But when he thought about the time and place he chose to do it, Liu suddenly understood. If the Sixth Prince was trying to curry favor with the emperor like normal, the emperor might not have gotten angry. Any other time, the emperor might have accepted the servant. But the Sixth Prince shouldn't have done it at Chang'an Manor, Empress Xiaohuai's family home. Yeah, that is pretty bad taste. Even worse, he did it when the emperor had just been reminiscing about Empress Xiaohuai with Prince Jing. He'd basically just slapped the emperor in the face. Oops. The Sixth Prince's mother was not favored by the emperor, so he'd wanted to present a beauty to the emperor for a long time. But he was afraid that giving the emperor someone directly would result in a lot of trouble, and the emperor might not accept it. That's why he thought he would wait until the emperor left the palace in casual clothes and give him a peek at a half-covered beauty. If the emperor himself was interested, it would make things easier for him. But he'd failed to predict that the emperor would reminisce about the empress while attending a wedding, or else he would have never picked such a time. The emperor must have been incredibly irritated, but he couldn't reject the Sixth Prince outright when the Sixth Prince hadn't offered outright. With so many people looking on, the emperor needed an excuse to get out of the situation the Sixth Prince had put him in. All the emperor had at his disposal was the fish. So, the moment the fish started to tilt, the emperor insisted on summoning the physicians to stir things up a bit. Liu thought he'd successfully messed up the Sixth Prince's plan, but it was actually the emperor who seized the opportunity and messed up the Sixth Prince's plan himself. Thinking back to the original plan, Liu realized there were plenty of holes. After he'd flipped over, perhaps Prince Jing wouldn't notice in time, or if he did and the emperor didn't call for any physicians, or Prince Jing asked the emperor and the emperor ignored him. If the emperor was in the mood for a new concubine, there would be no helping it. This time, his luck had actually won out. He'd somehow managed to run into a situation where even the emperor needed a bailout. Hold on, Liu thought belatedly. Was this the luck the system had given him? He remembered the system had increased his luck stat on the following categories: slapping villains in the face, well-fed and well-clothed, and one-shot KO. He'd always worked hard at feeding and clothing himself. His luck wasn't obvious, and slapping villains in the face was easy to understand. This was the kind of situation where they came into play, right? It seemed like Akoi's traits really did come in handy. After Prince Jing escorted the emperor back to the palace, he returned to Chang'an Manor. It was dark now, and after sending the newlyweds to their room, most of the guests had left. But the Sixth Prince was still there. The one shot always makes me laugh. Yeah, it's kind of like, ooh, Liu, you haven't been on AO3 recently, have you? Oh, honey. Fifth brother, we meet again. Mu Tianxiao had never shown his temper to outsiders. He smiled as he greeted Prince Jing with a bow. Liu noticed that the veiled beauty was still with the Sixth Prince. The sixth prince probably didn't know why the emperor had treated him so coldly, so he wanted to find out from Prince Jing. The little carp immediately turned into a fighting fish. He swiped his tail at the sixth prince furiously. "Master, husband, don't pay him any attention." Prince Jing nodded at the sixth prince, unperturbed. The sixth prince was just about to turn the subject to the emperor when Prince Jing looked straight past him. He wasn't able to stop Prince Jing, but his gaze fell to the crystal bottle Prince Jing always carried around with him, the fish that wouldn't stop moving. Liu realized quickly that Mu Tianxiao's icy cold gaze was aimed at him. Liu froze up for a moment and quickly went to hide where Prince Jing's sleeve covered the bottle a little bit. As long as he didn't look at the sixth prince probably wouldn't look at him either. After waiting patiently for a while, Liu peeked out again. The sixth prince had already turned around. Liu wanted to look some more, but the crystal bottle was suddenly covered by something. Prince Jing had stopped moving and turned the bottle so the fish could only look at him. Sheesh. Oh, Prince Jing. Hang on, I'm gonna blow my nose real quick. I can hear myself getting all nasally. Hey. Come on. Oh, man. I rolled over my shawl and it's stuck. Come on. There we go. Chapter 72. Fishy Plan. Right? Liu thought he should warn Prince Jing that the sixth prince was his adversary in the original book. Now that the second prince was out of the way. Oh boy. Sounded like something fell. I hope they're okay. Now that the second prince was out of the way and the third prince had lost favor with the emperor, the sixth prince wasn't to be underestimated in this fight for the throne. Liu had once urged Prince Jing to be wary of the sixth prince, but he knew that they had to be more proactive than that with someone like Mu Tianxiao. Prince Jing and the House of Chang'an had suffered so much because of him in the book. It would be best if they could take him down before he got too powerful. But how should he convince Prince Jing to make a move? He was a young Gonzi who had always stayed in the manor and never went out. Even if he was dating Prince Jing and Prince Jing cared for him, he didn't think he had enough sway to convince Prince Jing. Honestly, he had to admit he had no sway at all. He wasn't a good strategist, and analyzing a situation wasn't one of his strengths. All he understood was that being vigilant was the same as staying defensive, and it wouldn't change the situation. But actively doing something would be changing to the offensive, which would mean Prince Jing had to let go of the way he'd always done things. Plus, that would catch the sixth prince's attention. As things currently stood, Prince Jing probably didn't have any intention to fight for the throne yet. If he really started clashing with the sixth prince, he'd have to fight for the throne whether he wanted to or not. Okay, frankly, it was harder to think of a reason to get Prince Jing to agree to fight for the throne than to just get him to deal with the sixth prince. Prince Jing could keep his guard up against the sixth prince without needing to know why, but there was no way he'd just fight for the throne without a really good reason. I think he found his reason. Starts with an L, ends with a U. Sob, 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 how do I convince Prince Jing? Wept Liu. Completely unaware Prince Jing already had his own plans. Alright, 1 second. I hear a lot of movement upstairs and it's making me nervous. So I'm going to just make a quick call and just make sure everybody's okay upstairs. 1 second. Hello? Hi, is everything okay up there? There was a huge thud.
As far as I know, hang on. Oh, she said there was a huge thud up here. Everything is fine up here.
Okay, thank you. I love you guys.
Love you.
Bye. Yeah, they're fine. I just wanted to make sure because that's like right where my mom's chair is upstairs. I was like, did she fall? Do I need to go upstairs and help? Okay, they're fine. All good. Yeah. that was my dad. Thank you. I will tell him that they like his accent. Okay. How do I convince Sob, how do I convince Prince Jing? Wept Liu, completely unaware Prince Jing already had his own plans. No matter what, he had to at least try. It was over for the third prince, but the sixth prince was now chomping at the bit. He even dared present the emperor with a beauty. This meant the sixth prince was already preparing to position someone in the back palace to help him. Yeah, it's really good that they're fine. My parents are a bit older, so I'd like when there's louder noises, I'd prefer to just check. Yeah. I agree. So when he got the opportunity, Liu turned into a human and said to Prince Jing, "Your Highness, the sixth prince." Liu concentrated. He wanted to use both emotion and reason to convince Prince Jing to take the throne. He needed to argue for him to consider his duty, given his position and status. When Prince Jing heard him say, "the sixth prince," his eyes narrowed dangerously. Prince Jing didn't like the sixth prince, but Liu didn't notice anything unusual. He continued on, not catching on to Prince Jing's mood, and ended up pushed onto the bed. A pair of lips covered his roughly. Ever since the two of them had gotten together, Prince Jing had always let Liu take the lead when it came to more intimate acts. They did whatever Liu wanted, however he wanted. Even if they couldn't go all the way, Prince Jing waited patiently and never tried to force him. In fact, he cared a lot about how Liu felt and had never gotten mad at him. Although Liu never said anything, he was very happy to get closer with Prince Jing. So much so, he'd almost forgotten he was dating a tyrant. And dog sitting experience. Small dogs are really good at getting into trouble and all that. Yeah, maybe it was my dog. That could have been. With this push, all of Prince Jing's hidden cruelty and fierceness were released. Liu's cries were muffled as he hit Prince Jing in the chest over and over. He liked it when they acted lovingly, sweetly, but he didn't like it rough. Plus, he had important things to talk about. But it was like Prince Jing couldn't hear and didn't care. He just continued to press into his lips roughly, easily stripping away all of Liu's defenses. Liu was used to enjoying moments like this, so he very quickly lost the will to fight and relaxed into the bed. His eyes were shimmering, and all that came out of him were small moans. Got a little bit of a Wei Wuxian feel right there. Complaining and then liking it. Prince Jing only calmed down once the two of them were covered in a light layer of sweat. After Liu recovered some energy, he smoothed out Prince Jing's hair and said hoarsely, "What's gotten into you, Your Highness?" To be honest, he wasn't really angry. Prince Jing had just kissed Liu too hard in the beginning and frightened him. Liu's lips were swollen. Hoo hoo hoo! After Prince Jing was done, all of his viciousness seemed to evaporate. Lightly kissing Liu's face, he stuffed a slightly sweaty note into his hand. Liu opened it to see. Do not look at other men. Liu, no looking at other men. That's his rule for you. Fuck. Why did it feel like he'd somehow wronged this powerful master of his? Liu rubbed his temples. Your Highness, did you misunderstand? I didn't look at other men. Liu's heart missed a beat. He'd only briefly mentioned the sixth prince this time. Prince Jing is adorable, but he's territorial. I agree. Yes, he is. He'd only briefly mentioned the sixth prince this time. He might have mentioned him a few times before as well. Did Prince Jing think he felt something for the sixth prince? This note had been pre-prepared as well. Look at this asshole been jealous. That's pretty funny that it is a pre-prepared note. I'm amazed that he can just pull out the correct note. Like he's like, which one, which feel? Oh, it's this one. Liu thumped the bed angrily. I'm trying to tell you that is your enemy in life, not in love. Prince Jing stared at him. Liu sighed and took the opportunity. I might as well just say it. Your Highness, if the sixth prince were to ascend to the throne, it would be very bad for you. Can you stop him? Those sleeves have a lot of space. They really do. With some of mine, it's the actual like kind of sleeves, and I sewed part of it, and it's like you're searching through basically a backpack without a zipper. Prince Jing slowly looked at Liu, a peculiar expression on his face. It seemed like he didn't understand Liu, but it didn't seem like he was suspicious either. No matter. Liu hadn't thought he could convince Prince Jing in just a few sentences anyway. The misunderstanding just now had given him an idea. Liu thought that, other than appealing to the prince's emotions and reason, he could use another tactic. Himself. After he diligently, sincerely used himself a few times and nearly passed out from exhaustion in the process, Prince Jing finally smiled and, reluctantly, agreed to stop the sixth prince from getting the throne. Reluctantly. Reluctantly, my ass. The other two adult princes were clearly out of the picture. After the sixth prince was gone, Prince Jing would be the only one left. This basically meant Prince Jing was agreeing to join in on the fight for the throne. Except he wasn't stealing because he was the Dai son. The throne should have been his to begin with. The fish, who had sacrificed so much for all of this, thought, Sob, it's so hard getting the tyrant to do things he should be doing by himself. Why did the duty of carrying the protagonist's halo fall onto this fish? Oh, he likes it. You know you like it, Liu. But if not him, who would consider the tyrant's future for him? I think Gong Gong would. Anyway, Liu had finally taken care of something that had been weighing heavily on his mind. So now it was time to take care of a few smaller things. One of which was, since he and Prince Jing were constantly tangled together, he was no longer very good at estimating his transformation time. Although the system would give him a countdown, the system's warning consistently came at the last minute. There were several times when he'd nearly blown his cover and basically had to roll off the bed to escape. Prince Jing was having about as good a time as his fish, so Liu wanted something like a clock to remind himself to be more efficiently. There were no clocks in ancient times. People either kept track of the time through sundials or water clocks, neither of which was very accurate nor convenient to use. Liu remembered hourglasses, though, and tried to explain them to Wang Shi. After Liu gestured for a while, Wang Shi finally understood. Li Gonzi, do you want an hourglass? This servant knows where to get one and can acquire it for you. So hourglasses existed. Yeah, they're pretty old. I think they also have incense that burns at Shichen's. So, like, I think a Shichen is 2 hours of time. So you could have one that burns for 2 hours. Liu thanked him many times, then shoved a few boxes of peach blossom pastries at Wang Shi. Oh, that's fair. Incense isn't terribly accurate. Yeah. But if you don't have a clock, I mean, it's something. At least gives you an idea. I agree. He gave peach blossom pastries to Wang Shi. Then he turned around and considered the second small thing. Before, Liu had gone to buy a wedding gift for Yi Qinghuan and the princess. He'd already given the gifts, but he still remembered all the fake goods he had tried to buy. His luck was so good when it came to slapping the sixth prince in the face, but why did he keep running into fakes when he went shopping? Was it his taste or his luck? Probably your taste. Liu didn't want to admit to either option, so he asked Wang Shi, Wang Gonggong, are there a lot of merchants selling fake goods around the manor? If there were lots around, then it would be normal for him to run into them. Wang Shi had gone with them that day, and he was the one who had led the guards to arrest all the shop owners that were selling fakes. He immediately understood what Liu meant and burst into laughter. There weren't many before, but Gonzi, your luck, he coughed. Your luck is just too good, and you ran into all of them. The administrative office can't wait to thank you. That was the truth. Li Gonzi's going shopping was much more effective than someone from the administrative office investigating personally. Your luck is so good, it's bad. There you go. Since there are people selling fakes, then buying fakes happens fairly often too, right? Liu's expression stiffened, and he tried to recover a little dignity. I thought the rocks in the fish tank even looked pretty real. Wang Shi started laughing again. Gonzi, please stop joking. All of the gems in the fish tank are completely genuine. They're all selected from the prince's storage and polished. What? Liu was shocked. The entire tank. The red and blue stones he loved to toss around when he was bored, and the pile of purple ones that he liked to kick, they were all real? Every single stone. Wang Shi nodded seriously. They're all top quality gemstones. It wouldn't be an exception to say, exaggeration to say that they could buy a whole city. When you take loving your fish to the next level, literally swimming in wealth. Yep, there you could not have put it better, Truffle. Liu didn't know he'd been playing with gems that could buy a whole city. He thought the silver rock bed and the gold embroidered blanket that Prince Jing had given the fish were already quite excessive, but he was actually swimming on top of a pile of real gemstones. Yeah, this is like when Frodo finds out the mithril coat is worth more than the Shire itself. Haha. Yeah, that's his mithril moment. They weren't very sparkly, so Liu never realized it all. He thought they were just ordinary rocks. It seemed he hadn't run into so many fakes because of his luck. His taste really was terrible. Liu put a hand on the wall weakly. Wang Gonggong, I need a sec. Wang Gonggong was under Prince Jing's orders to give Li Gonzi anything he wanted. But if Li Gonzi mentioned anyone else... In the past, Li Gonzi had brought up a chubby man, and Prince Jing had ordered Wang Shi to look into it. Wang Shi thought this chubby fellow sounded somewhat familiar, but he'd never found out who it was. Now there was someone named Asek. That's like a story I read where someone got transmigrated and they were woozy and they were talking about how they missed their team leader and they thought they were saying Tom Ladder. And they were looking to find him because they were like, why is my son so sick? So the cultural phrases coming out as names trope. An alarm went off in Wang Shi's head. He immediately asked on behalf of his master, Prince Jing, Li Gonzi, please be clear, who is Asek? And why do you need him? It was so hard to communicate with ancient people. 2 days later, Wang Shi brought Liu a silver hourglass. Liu tried the hourglass out in accordance with his transformation time. The hourglass was roughly 2 hours, so it worked perfectly. Liu put the hourglass away in his inventory and took it out whenever he turned into a human, so he didn't always have to guess at the time. What he didn't know was that after he'd gotten a second to mourn his bad taste in peace, Wang Shi recounted to Prince Jing how Li Gonzi wanted an hourglass. There was no way Prince Jing could take any of Xiao Yu's requests lightly. Though hourglasses weren't expensive, they were mostly used as decorations here and weren't always accurate. The one that Liu received was different. Prince Jing had specially asked the skilled craftsman in the palace for a rush order, and he had carefully checked the timing so that it was much more accurate than ordinary hourglasses. On the base, in a spot that wasn't too obvious, was a lightly etched fish. Prince Jing was used to taking care of Xiao Yu. He was happy seeing Xiao Yu bring the hourglass with him everywhere he went in his human form. He wanted everything that Xiao Yu owned, from the things he ate to the things he used, to have him stamped all over them. See a little bit more of that possessiveness coming into play. Chapter 73. Fishy offering himself up. Oh, are we about to see some spiced fish? On the first rest day after his wedding, Yi-Shizi brought his new wife to visit. Since Prince Jing worked at the Ministry of Works, the couple specifically picked a day when Prince Jing was home and asked Wang Shi to pass along the message in advance so that they could see Li Gonzi too. When Liu found out, he was very happy. Yi Qinghuan and the princess were some of the only friends Liu had in the ancient times, and he liked spending time with them. I'm so sorry about the squeaking that's coming through. I don't know if it's coming through the microphone, but it's so loud to me. I think they're walking back and forth upstairs. It was the first time the Princess of Jinju came to Prince Jing's manor. When she saw the confession carved into the wall, she gave Yi Qinghuan a meaningful look. Yi Qinghuan turned red, wondering how he was still losing to Prince Jing even though he'd gotten married first. When the princess saw the ponds connecting into a large fish tank, she was so shocked she couldn't speak. That's a perfectly valid reaction. With the princess gazing around enviously, Liu led them around the manor. Everyone said getting married was like getting a fresh start. It'd been a while since Liu had last saw them, and he thought that they really had changed quite a bit. There was still a hint of redness on Yi-Shizi's cheeks and a soft smile on his lips when he looked gently at his wife. The Princess of Jinju was as sweet and beautiful as always, absolutely radiant. But when she looked into Yi Qinghuan's eyes, it seemed like the happiness inside was going to spill out. That is adorable and precious, and they better be okay. You guys really have changed, Liu teased. Yi Qinghuan didn't retort for once, while the princess blinked and laughed. Li Gonzi has as well. Liu snuck a glance at Prince Jing beside him, thinking, there's no way I'm that obvious. Yi Qinghuan also brought Xiang Fang along, and he and the princess held Xiang Fang's leash together. Been a long time since Xiang Fang last saw the fish, so as soon as he saw Liu, he wagged his tail at him. Liu remembered Xiang Fang liked to eat fish food, so he pulled out the box and fed Xiang Fang a few pieces. As Liu fed him, he suddenly remembered all the things he said about having a second master. Now that Yi Qinghuan was married to the Princess of Jinju, wasn't the Princess Xiang Fang's second master? He. Xiang Fang, have you gotten used to it yet? I don't know why he thinks that's funny. Liu scratched Xiang Fang's chin, then rubbed his belly. The dog was large and strong with smooth, silky fur. It seemed like Xiang Fang was getting along with his second master and living well, just like the fish. The only difference was Xiang Fang's second master was a good person and loved pets, while the fish's second master was himself. Oh, I guess that's maybe why he finds it funny. If he combined the happiness of all the pets in the world, the fish probably took up 80% all on his own. Oh, he's saying he's really happy with where he is. That's cute. All right, Li Gonzi. I brought a fish today, too. After some pleasantries had been exchanged, the Princess of Jinju clapped her hands, beaming. A female servant carefully brought over a quartz fish tank. This fish tank was made from smooth pink rose quartz. There were many different koi inside, all different colors. They waved their beautiful tails, swimming around in a lively group. Not bad, Liu smiled at Yi Qinghuan. The little princess had liked him as a fish. Was she trying to appeal to his interests? Yi Qinghuan stuttered uncharacteristically. This was the princess's idea. I just help feed them once in a while. Liu giggled while covering his mouth. They're just fish, Yi-Shizi. Why are you blushing? Aren't you just admitting that you like fish? There's no need to be embarrassed. A tank made of rose quartz sound wild. Yeah, it sounds like it'd be really pretty, but like you'd have to look inside the tank to be able to see it. Well, I guess if it was really, really polished, you might be able to see through the side, but it'd be kind of murky. Like, it'd be pretty. Like, don't get me wrong, it'd be gorgeous. But, like, if you're looking for clarity, it sounds pretty. It'd have to be a big piece, because if you have multiple koi, it'd be a big tank. Must be a strong servant. All of the princess's fish were very healthy, but the princess herself was a little disappointed. Yeah, that'd be a pain to clean. Yeah. Well, because isn't it slightly porous? Isn't quartz... Is it porous? Like, even just slightly, like... I don't know. That'll be something to look up later. Properties of quartz. She had a hand on her chin as she stared at the fish and said, all the servants say these are the smartest fish, but how come they can't compare to your highnesses? After getting some herself, the little princess came to the realization that not all fish were equal. Prince Jing and Liu glanced at each other thinking, of course not. Since they were talking about fish, the princess mentioned she wanted to see Prince Jing's fish. Liu was in an awkward position. Li Gonzi and the fish couldn't both exist at the same time. Because he was afraid the princess would want to take a good look, he hadn't brought the fish plush out. Thank goodness Prince Jing's expression remained dark after the princess brought it up. Since the owner wouldn't say yes, there was nothing the princess could do. Yi Qinghuan tried to smooth things over, and Liu used his tactics, talking to the princess about food for a while. Soon, it was time for him to transform again. Liu excused himself as always, saying he had something important to attend to. After Liu left, Prince Jing waited another 15 minutes before ordering Wang Shi to bring out the fish in the crystal tank. Liu, who'd had to rush back to swap between his human and fish form, was quickly scooped out of the water by Wang Gonggong, using a large jade spoon. For some reason, Prince Jing had been very possessive lately and refused to let anyone else touch his fish. As a result, Wang Gonggong had to use the spoon. Use the spoon! Then Wang Shi had put Liu into a brand new lapis lazuli tank. That sounds gorgeous. Like, I don't know how many of you know what lapis lazuli looks like, but it's so pretty. I gotta show you. Lapis lazuli. Right? Okay. So this is lapis lazuli. Like, I mean, it's smoothed out, but like, it's really pretty. You're definitely not seeing through that fishbowl. Here's like some raw lapis lazuli. Or like slightly more polished, but like with more variation. So it's a really cool rock. It's supposed to promote good sleep. Okay. The tank wasn't the usual simple box shape. Instead, it was shaped like a house. Jade bells hung from the eaves, tinkling whenever the wind blew. For ease of viewing, all the windows and doors were filled with a layer of crystal. Yeah, the bands are such a cool part of the stone. So he's got it. It's in the shape of a house, which is crazy to think about. Liu had never seen this tank before. Prince Jing, the fish lover, probably just had it made. Such a large piece of lapis must have been really expensive. Liu was too scared to swim around once he was inside. It's an aquatic mansion. Yeah. Wang Shi came out holding the lapis fish tank. As soon as Yi Qinghuan saw this new tank, the corners of his mouth twitched. Sky blue lapis lazuli was rare and hard to find, and only the royal family was allowed to use it. This time, he and the princess had totally lost. The princess hadn't seen the fish in a long time. Last time, at the market, she'd only managed to get a brief glimpse of the plush from a distance. Now, seeing the real thing, the princess was shocked. How did it get like this? Even though Yi Qinghuan had already warned her, she still remembered that the little black fish at the banquet, the one that was eating from Prince Jing's hand. Prince Jing glanced at Wang Shi, who already memorized the explanation. He retold it to the princess, and the princess, eyes wide, couldn't stop exclaiming, "Oh! Oh! Oh!" The servants placed the two fish tanks together. Prince Jing's fish tank was clearly bigger than the princess's. Through the crystal windows, Liu looked at the fish across from him. The emperor had also gifted Prince Jing fish before, but at the time, Liu didn't have an opportunity to observe them so up close. Slowly, he had a scary thought. Humans couldn't understand fish, no matter how many bubbles he blew. But what about other fish? Fish How did they say hi? Liu tried to swim a little closer and yelled towards the other tank. Hi! Can you hear me? No reaction from the other side. Liu thought he might be thinking too much. After all, he wasn't a normal fish. He was a transmigrated fish. Even fish to fish, they couldn't communicate in language, right? Suddenly, scales flashed before his eyes. All the fish in the tank across started to swim towards him. They raised their heads, blowing bubbles at Liu. None of them made the same kind of noise as Liu, but somehow Liu could understand them. The fish were saying, "Hello, what do you want?" What an unexpected surprise. Liu swung his tail, and the fish lined up in a line. Liu swung again, and they lined up in a cross. Liu laughed. What should he do next? Then he had another, more devious thought. Tianchi, what's going on with these fish? Yi Qinghuan was completely blown away. His and the princess's fish all swam to Prince Jing's fish and were blowing bubbles together. What a sight! If it were just one or two fish, that could be a coincidence, but the whole group was doing it. That was too uncanny. Prince Jing watched from the side. He knew exactly what was going on. Xiao Yu's true form was a koi. He was probably communicating with the other fish, but he couldn't hear what they were saying. Prince Jing watched the fish, annoyance and bitterness rising in his heart. Eventually, he walked up and picked up his own fish tank. The other fish suddenly lost their conversation partner and looked around, confused. Prince Jing threw a warning glance toward Yi Qinghuan. You didn't see anything. Yi Qinghuan randomly found an excuse and said, as though suddenly coming to a realization, Tianchi, is your fish female? Other than a female fish attracting a bunch of male fish, Yi-Shizi couldn't think of any other explanation. Liu and Prince Jing both separately felt complicated about this. Anyway, Liu's new devious thought had to do with the other fish. It was almost time for the Emperor's birthday celebration. In the original book, that was when the sixth prince took the opportunity to show himself off. If Prince Jing wanted to fight for the throne, he could take advantage of this celebration and use the sixth prince's tricks better than he could. That way, the sixth prince would be left with nothing. In the book, because the sixth prince couldn't afford expensive gifts, he projected the word longevity onto the golden bricks of Xianxing Palace. The clever idea had pleased the emperor greatly. Of course, not being able to afford an expensive gift was only an excuse. The sixth prince had thought of such a gift a long time ago. It would gain the emperor's sympathy and make him happy. It's a little devious. I think that's pretty smart, honestly. Liu wouldn't urge Prince Jing to ruin the sixth prince's gift. He'd just think of something better and win against the sixth prince. The emperor's birthday was a chance to show off everyone's skills and creativity anyway. Liu first asked Wang Shi to get a tank of fish. Then, he worked with the fish for a while. After he was confident, Liu looked for an opportunity to ask Prince Jing about the details of the celebration. In past years, Prince Jing would always give his own calligraphy as his gift. It was standard and expected. But now that he had his eyes on the throne, he couldn't be too careless. The emperor had given Prince Jing a job, so Prince Jing should show his thanks. Other than writing something of his own, Prince Jing had also found a painter that the emperor really liked and commissioned him to paint a scene of cranes and flat peaches. So cranes and flat peaches both symbolize longevity. This painter had a quirky personality and didn't like to take commissions, so it was already a miracle that he'd agreed to paint for Prince Jing. By the time Liu came to ask Prince Jing already had his entire gift planned out. But he still wanted to hear Xiao Yu's idea. He knew Xiao Yu wanted the best for him, and he liked it when Xiao Yu was busy doing things for him. It's enrichment. Liu asked tentatively, Your Highness, do you have any ideas for the Emperor's birthday? Prince Jing shook his head, only to see Xiao Yu's dark eyes shine abnormally bright. Prince Jing looked at him, smiling. What do you have in mind now? Liu rubbed his hands together. Your Highness, let's try to arrange some fish into the word longevity and present it to the Emperor. The Sixth Prince's projection was static. How could it compare to Liu's living, breathing arrangement? Besides, koi were auspicious. Auspicious. There was no way his koi arrangement would lose to the Sixth Prince's light projection. Besides, he'd tested it out over the last few days. He was able to have simple communications with the other fish. Arranging them into the word longevity would be a piece of cake. Then during the performance, he could join the group of fish to prevent any mistakes. It really is very cute when they team up. Even if Liu doesn't know they're teaming up right now. Liu thought his idea was very good. I feed fish every day, he said smugly. I know how to arrange them into a word. Just let me try, Your Highness. Prince Jing raised a brow. He'd seen Xiao Yu interact with the other fish with his own eyes and couldn't help but consider the possibility. Liu was afraid he wouldn't agree, though, so he grabbed his hand, swinging it back and forth, and acted spoiled and cute. This was the first time Xiao Yu had shaken his arm like this. Inside, Prince Jing was already smiling. He showed no outward reaction to Liu's cute actions, seemingly still contemplating the idea, but his eyes kept drifting to his own lap. Liu immediately flushed. What an asshole, taking advantage at every opportunity. Oh, well, he was a flexible fish. He'd do whatever it took. They had to go through thick and thin together. In order to be given this extremely important job, Liu swallowed his embarrassment and sat down on Prince Jing's legs obediently. 15 minutes later, Liu emerged victorious, his legs shaking. Offering himself to the Tyrant bite by bite, the Tyrant finally agreed to let him try in the end. Now it was all up to him. Well then, I wonder what happened in our fade to black moment. Something spicy. But we'll never know. And that's why fan fiction exists. Chapter 74, Fishy Celebration. In order to achieve the best effect, Liu used only red carp in his arrangement. This was his only requirement, other than not allowing anyone to watch while he trained the fish. Prince Jing let him do whatever he wanted. The fish that were purchased weren't as precious as the koi in the palace, but they did look celebratory and jubilant. It wasn't enough just to practice. Liu had asked Prince Jing to write down the word longevity as reference. Originally, the prince didn't expect much. He was just trying to make Xiao Yu happy. But seeing how meticulous the arrangement was, exactly the same as his own handwriting, Prince Jing was both shocked and deeply moved. Xiao Yu was the only person in the world who could achieve this. I was just thinking, I bet there's some good fan fiction of this. Yes, I imagine there is. I hope there is. I haven't checked in a while, honestly. But I imagine that there's a bunch more than there was when I originally looked. After this, in order to practice, the little fish didn't sleep or eat. Prince Jing thought his fish had lost a lot of weight and he prepared plenty of food. He also fed human Xiao Yu lots of nutritious foods, but Liu could only eat a little bit each time. Unfortunately, Liu had to join in on the performance, so he couldn't look too different from the rest of the fish. In the past, Liu had never paid much attention, but now that he was with the other fish, he realized what a celebrity fish should look like. But even though Liu didn't eat much, he really wanted to. Oh, some of the writers went a little wild after the third book. Oh my, I'm gonna have to look. Maybe this weekend. Maybe I'll, if I find a good one, I might include one of those in the fanfic racks. We'll see. No promises. Prince Jing fed him 2 delicious food. Maybe he could wait until after the Emperor's birthday to make up for it. He's like, I'm too fat. I have to slim down. While Liu was practicing his fish arrangement, the spy Prince Jing sent to keep an eye on the Sixth Prince came back to report that the Sixth Prince had bought many paper lanterns. Liu immediately understood what that meant. It was just as he expected. When it came to these plot points that didn't affect much of what came before or after, the Sixth Prince really did follow the original plot. He was indeed preparing a light show. But if they were keeping an eye on the Sixth Prince, was the Sixth Prince keeping an eye on them too? Leo remembered the Sixth Prince's icy cold gaze and couldn't help the shiver creeping up his spine. He decided he had to be careful. He couldn't underestimate that person no matter what. Considering the fish arrangement might not go according to plan, Liu made some contingency plans. The Emperor's birthday arrived in no time at all. Prince Jing had to go to the palace early in the morning. Liu was afraid that if he transformed into a human now, something might happen later, and he wouldn't be able to transform again. So the day before, he told Prince Jing that Li Gonzi was asking for the day off. Prince Jing would take the crystal bottle and Xiao Yu into the palace first, and Wang Shi and the guards would bring the rest of the fish afterward. In order to avoid suspicion, all the fish were in fish tanks covered in cloth. They would just tell anyone who asked that they were gifts for the Emperor. The Emperor was holding his birthday banquet in Bao He Palace and would be receiving birthday wishes from all of his court officials. Gifts from various states and countries had already started coming in a month earlier, and there were plenty of common people who'd traveled to the capital to celebrate and witness the festivities. As a result, the Emperor had colorful tents set up all over for the occasion. Liu was there with Prince Jing for the celebration at Bao He Palace, and the whole thing really opened his eyes. If he had to choose one word to describe it, it would be lavish. There were so many gifts from court officials and other members of the aristocracy that the rooms in Bao He Palace weren't enough to hold them all. The gifts were all priceless. Any random piece could be a family heirloom. The Emperor was very happy. He'd had a few drinks with some of the officials and each of the 6 ministers, and then it was time for the princes to present their gifts. They lined up according to age, which meant that the ones at the very front was the Marquis of An, the second prince. The Emperor had allowed him into the palace to celebrate on such a special day, but Mu Tianxiao still wasn't in his right mind. He didn't manage to recognize the Emperor when he saw him. When the Emperor saw the Marquis of An and thought back to the personable second prince of the past, he couldn't help but feel melancholy. Yeah, I feel a little bit the same, Truffle. He really kind of got dealt a shit hand. Like, he's not a great person, but, like, yeah. Yeah. Very quickly, though, this feeling was washed away by the other princes. The third prince, Mu Tianming, had also been allowed to enter the palace. The Emperor nodded as he saw how much humbler the third prince was now. The third prince brought forth the gift he'd carefully selected, a sarira, which is a typical pearl-like object purported to be found in the ashes of cremated Buddhist masters. So he'd purchased this from for a fortune. The emperor was touched at the third prince's filial piety, but such relics were found in places of worship. Buddha probably wasn't pleased at the trouble he'd gone to. So he's another one of those who kind of, like, context. Timing and context are not his forte. But because it was a celebration, the emperor didn't let his dissatisfaction show on his face. However, he did think about it a bit more deeply. The third prince was still on house arrest. All he could do was study and copy books. How did he get his hands on such a precious thing? But he decided to leave that question for later. Yeah. The third prince insisted that he was now regretful for his mistakes, but the emperor wanted to check the third prince thoroughly. From inside his bottle, Liu saw the third prince present the relic. It was pitch black, and he couldn't quite tell what shape it was. Regardless of whether or not the third prince managed to get the real thing, most sarira were made when monks were cremated. Liu instinctively feared such things. Yeah, that's kind of morbid for a birthday celebration. Feeling Liu's nervousness, Prince Jing covered him up with his sleeve. Liu felt a lot safer peeking out from behind the fabric. That is adorable. The two young princes, the seventh and eighth princes, had each copied sutras for the emperor and came to kowtow to the emperor with their mothers. The emperor liked seeing his young sons' faces. It made him feel like he was still young, not yet old. When it was the sixth prince's turn, Mu Tianxiao first had his head lowered, asking for forgiveness. He said he was poor, unable to prepare a proper gift. All he could do was prepare a light show for the emperor. The way he said it provoked intrigue and sympathy. The emperor was also curious what exactly the sixth prince was planning and asked him to do his best. Liu screamed mentally, "It's here! It's here!" He immediately swam to the edge of his crystal bottle. Following the sixth prince's request, half of the candles in Bao He Palace were extinguished. Then 6 lanterns that the sixth prince had bought were hung up. The emperor looked up at them and thought the lights were quite ordinary, but the sixth prince asked him to look at the floor. On the gold bricks of Bao He Palace, many vague shadows appeared. With closer examination, each shadow read longevity. The emperor was shocked. "Tian Xiao, how did you do this?" Mu Tianxiao smiled and explained to the emperor in detail. After the sixth prince had purchased the lanterns, he'd stuck many cutouts of the word longevity on the inside. When the lanterns were lit and hung up high, the words inside would be projected into the ground. Mu Tianxiao said humbly, "It's but a simple trick, not anything impressive." The emperor clapped delightedly. "I know it wasn't easy. It's the thought that counts." When the sixth prince was presenting his gift, the third prince was right on the side. Mu Tianming originally had a lot of confidence in his relic, hoping it would allow him to make a comeback. But he saw the difference in how the emperor treated him and the sixth prince. So, to the emperor, the relic he'd spent a fortune on was nothing compared to a few lanterns. The third prince was incredibly frustrated and also confused. Wasn't the sixth prince always helping him out? Why did he try to steal the show during such an important occasion, the emperor's birthday? The third prince returned his confusion to the sixth prince. Sorry, I was resetting it. I saw it was buffering. Alright. I'm back. I ran and reset it. All good? Are we good? Okay. Okay. Phew. Okay. Now, I noticed there's a little sign that appears up at the top that says like internet unstable. So when I see that, I try to reset it as soon as possible so it's less buffering. But it took an extra moment because I had to run upstairs and reset. No. Okay, we're back. Okay, so the third prince froze. That seemed to make sense. But was that really how it was? Yeah. Yeah. After the sixth prince left, head eunuch Luo came to whisper to the emperor. Prince Jing's Wang Gonggong had asked him to announce Prince Jing's gift last. It was a very small thing for Luo Rusheng, but Prince Jing would owe him a favor in the future. Why not? So after the emperor praised the sixth prince's gift over and over, Luo Rusheng found the opportunity to bring up Prince Jing. The emperor smiled and glanced at Prince Jing, a little surprised. Tianxi, I heard you prepared a unique gift this time? Prince Jing usually gave him his own calligraphy. If even he had prepared a surprise, that would be truly unusual. Prince Jing walked out of the lineup and presented his own calligraphy and a painting scroll. When the emperor saw the prince's calligraphy, he smiled. Doing something every single year was a kind of perseverance. Then, as he unrolled the scroll, the emperor's expression was full of delight. You managed to get your hands on a painting from Tang Yin for my birthday? Tang Yin was the name of the painter. Many people praised him as the painting immortal. And the emperor really enjoyed his work too, wanting to bring him into the palace. But Tang Yin was a little strange. He didn't like money or power and rarely painted for anyone else. How unexpected that he'd made an exception for the emperor's birthday. The sixth prince spoke of his hardships, but Prince Jing said nothing of how he'd persuaded Tang Yin to paint for them. He only brought the painting out, but as soon as the emperor saw it, he knew how much effort Prince Jing had put in. After the emperor finished examining the crane and peach painting, he asked Luo Rusheng to hang it up in Qianxing Palace, satisfied. He wanted to see this painting every day. In comparison, the sixth prince's lighting projection was a lot cruder. The emperor no longer paid the shadows any mind. After Prince Jing had presented the painting, he stood there unmoving. The emperor said, curious, "Do you have something else?" Prince Jing nodded lightly and gestured for the emperor to follow him. The emperor was quite happy and willing to do as Prince Jing said. He followed Prince Jing, and they arrived at Tai Yi Pool. Luo Ruisheng held the emperor's arm, and they looked into the pool together, only to see patches of red jumping here and there. There were many red carps swimming within. The carps were constantly moving and seemed to be increasing in number. They lingered before the emperor, not leaving. Luo Ruisheng understood that this was why Prince Jing asked the emperor to come. He chuckled. "Your Majesty, look! The fish are congratulating you." Pleased, the emperor nodded. The sixth prince followed behind the emperor. The smile remained on his face, but he felt disdain on the inside. What was this? All he had to do was toss some fish food in before the emperor came. Of course the fish would all gather. This couldn't even be considered a trick. How is it comparable to his lanterns? The emperor looked at the fish in the pool and then suddenly realized the fish seemed to be in formation. Some were horizontal, some were vertical. They looked like strokes of a brush. Luo Ruisheng saw it too and exclaimed in a low voice, "Do these fish form a word?" The emperor took a step back so he could see all the carp at once. Connecting the paths of red and patches, they formed a spectacular, proper word. Longevity. the precise longevity that Prince Jing had written many times throughout the years. Lu Rusheng was stunned nearly to tears. Your Highness, the carp are celebrating your birthday. Okay, here, we'll show it. Look at, even the Emperor's like, this cool. Longevity. First, the Emperor had received Tang Yin's crane and peach painting. Now he had the red carp longevity. He couldn't be more pleased. Yeah, the carp are really cute. He couldn't be more pleased. Lu Rusheng spewed out a bunch of auspicious congratulatory messages. And after all that, the red carp were still in formation. No one had ever seen such a thing. Everyone rushed forward to look. The Emperor liked Prince Jing's gift the best. He showered the prince with praise, but never asked how he did it. There was no need to reveal the secret behind such a beautiful scene. The Emperor would just pretend it was a miracle. It kind of is, let's be real. Mu Tianming stared at all this in fury. Seeing Mu Tianxiao, he said passive-aggressively, might not be as smart as you, but you couldn't even compare to a mute. But the sixth prince just smiled. Fifth brother's gift is truly extraordinary. I really can't compete. Mu Tianming saw that either way his gift couldn't come close to the others, so he left in a hurry. Mu Tianxiao kept smiling. No one would be able to criticize him. The Emperor admired the red carp for a long time. They were somehow still holding their formation. The sixth prince suddenly thought of something. Prince Jing must have done something to the water to make the carp spell out longevity. But he didn't know how Prince Jing did it. If he could ruin the formation, Prince Jing wouldn't feel so smug anymore. Very quickly, he thought of a plan and asked a servant nearby. Is there fish feed? I've never seen a sight like this before. I want to reward these fish. Stinky boy. The sixth prince wasn't stupid. He wouldn't poison these fish in front of the Emperor. He just wanted to feed them. There must be a reason the fish spelled out longevity. But fish were fish. How smart could they be? If he threw down a handful of feed, the fish would start fighting. When faced with such a sight, most people would want to feed them. The sixth prince's actions weren't suspicious. Even the Emperor heard. That's right, I want to reward them too. In an instant, Prince Jing's heart flew into his throat. But remembering how Xiao Yu had promised him, he couldn't ruin Xiao Yu's plan, so Prince Jing forced himself to calm down, staring at the fish. The sixth prince smiled smugly. He took the fish feed from the servant and threw a huge handful down. The carps really did rush forward towards the food. The huge longevity dissipated in an instant. The Emperor suddenly realized something and felt a little disappointed. But just as the red carp were dispersing, he saw a silver koi speckled with gold swim up slowly from below. The koi was holding a lotus flower in its mouth, its gold fins illuminating the azure waves of Taiyi Pool. It swam to the Emperor and spun in an elegant circle. The Emperor had never experienced so many surprises in a row. He quickly recognized it as his son's pet fish. Tianxi, this is your fish. Prince Jing nodded, giving the fish in the water, who was trying to do a seaweed dance, a doting glance. The sixth prince had played a dirty trick, but Xiao Yu had something up his sleeve. He was prepared. Prince Jing was so proud of his love. You're so cute together. Oh my goodness. I think this is the last chapter. It is. We're at the last chapter for tonight. And for book 2. Yes. Okay. Okay. Chapter 75. Through Thick and Thin. The emperor was very happy with Prince Jing. The cuteness is too much. They are so cute. Yeah, they're adorable. Like they're sweet, and it's not just like, oh, it's so cute, but it's like, oh my goodness, you are so sweet to each other. Like it's The emperor was very happy with Prince Jing. At the banquet, he thought a lot and often looked towards Prince Jing. After the banquet, the emperor summoned Prince Jing to speak to him alone. Li Yu had just returned from Tai Yi Pool to the crystal bottle. He didn't have time to come along, so he had to wait outside Qianqing Palace with Wang Shi. While they waited, Wang Shi brought out lots of red fish food and peach blossom pastries to feed him. Prince Jing's gift had never been so successful, and Wang Gongong thought it was all thanks to Master Fish. It really needed to be appreciated for its hard work. Yeah, it's pretty cool that Liu had a contingency plan. Just now, when the sixth prince had thrown the fish feed into the water, Liu hadn't eaten a single bite. The proud fish didn't even glance at the food, only focused on swimming in front of the emperor, not tiring at all. With Wang Gongong feeding him now, however, Liu could finally feel his hunger. He hurriedly started gobbling it down until both cheeks were stuffed. Master Fish, eat slowly, Wang Shi chuckled. Liu was still busy eating when he suddenly heard footsteps. Delighted, Liu turned to look with a piece of food still in his mouth, then realized the footsteps were coming from outside, so it must not be Prince Jing. Soon, Liu saw Mu Tianxiao's gentle, amiable face. The sixth prince. Liu was a little disappointed. Why hadn't he left yet? Perhaps because he was waiting for the emperor to summon him. I bet he wasn't expecting to see Wang Shi here with the fish. Mu Tianxiao saw the fish too. The sixth prince examined the fish for a long time and was about to take a step forward. Your Highness, sixth prince, please stop, Wang Shi called out with his brows knit together. I can't take a look at my fifth brother's fish, the sixth prince seemed to smile. What did he want? Liu was so nervous he forgot to eat his food. He sneakily gathered all his strength into his tail. If the sixth prince tried anything, he'd slap him. Sixth prince, Wang Shi held the crystal bottle protectively in his arms. This is his highness's fish. Without his permission, no one is allowed to approach. Mu Tianxiao's expression went cold. You dare to look down on me too? This servant is not looking down on your highness, said Wang Shi, neither too self-deprecating nor too arrogant. Although I'm just a servant, I know taking without asking is stealing. Why does your highness have to come look at the fish while our prince is gone? Liu would have clapped for Wang Shi if his fins could reach. Sob, sob, sob. Wang Gongong was standing up to the sixth prince for him. How touching. Wang Shi refused to give in, putting Mu Tianxiao in an awkward position. Realizing that getting into a fight with Prince Jing's most trusted servant in front of Qianqing Palace would be a bad look, Mu Tianxiao quickly smoothed out his expression and said, There's no need to be so nervous. I just want to take a look. If that's not okay, then never mind. Mu Tianxiao had walked into the palace without asking, and very quickly he was politely asked to leave by the servants inside. He glared at Wang Shi and laughed. It looked like the sixth prince was unable to ask for an audience with the emperor. The emperor didn't want to see him. Now that he was finally gone, Liu relaxed a little. At last, Luo Ruosheng walked Prince Jing out. Wang Shi hurried to greet him with Liu. Your Highness, you're finally done! Wang Shi handed the crystal bottle over, smiling. Prince Jing always wanted to see the fish first. It had become a habit. Prince Jing accepted the crystal bottle and smoothed the hand over the fish's smooth back. Liu rubbed up against him happily. The Emperor had spoken to Prince Jing for ages. It would be great if the Emperor had been so pleased that he made Prince Jing the crown prince right then and there. Garbage like the third prince and the sixth prince could all stand to the side. Liu nearly laughed at himself. How could it be so easy? He knew he was only dreaming, but he wanted to think about it just for fun. Can you imagine that? Like, just all of a sudden, like, yeah, it succeeded. Oh, okay. Like, and done. Whoops. But even if he wasn't made crown prince, he should at least be rewarded, right? Liu snuck a glance at Prince Jing's expression. He didn't look happy or sad. It seemed like the reward this time was different. Prince Jing glanced at Wang Shi. Go to Changchun Palace. Wang Shi made a noise in response and led the way. This was the first time Liu had gone to Changchun Palace. It made him think of a certain mysterious secret related to the place. He'd once tried to ask Prince Jing, but it had become clear that Prince Jing had no such memory. If he wanted to figure out the secret, he'd have to do it himself. Man. Okay. Liu had wanted to ask Prince Jing if he could take him to Changchun Palace before, but he was never able to find a good excuse. After all, Changchun Palace was where the Empress had lived. It would be rude if he randomly asked to go see it. Besides, if he wanted to come in human form, he'd have to pay attention to the time. If Prince Jing agreed to take him and then he disappeared, there was no possible way to explain that. But if he was a fish, he couldn't ask Prince Jing to take him anywhere. Liu had been planning on waiting until Empress Xiaohuai's birthday. The original story mentioned that Prince Jing would go to Changchun Palace every year on that day. Prince Jing usually brought the fish around with him everywhere. If he didn't, the fish just wouldn't leave him alone. He'd get to Changchun Palace somehow. Then, when he was there, he could figure out the secret. Unexpectedly, before the Empress's birthday on the Emperor's birthday, Prince Jing was going for some reason. He'd just met with the Emperor. Was it because the Emperor ordered him to? Liu observed Prince Jing's expression carefully. Prince Jing should have been rewarded, so why was his expression so solemn? Soon, they arrived at Changchun Palace. As soon as Liu saw the landscape around the palace, he grew more and more sure that the secret had happened here. The decorations on the eaves were very similar to the ones he saw in the system, and Wang Shi was muttering that after the Empress's death, no other concubines had lived here, and that it had been a long time since it was fixed up. Changchun Palace was engulfed in darkness. Wang Shi ordered someone to light the candles. There were funeral cloths hanging all over the place, and Empress Xiaohuai's memorial tablet rested on the table. Prince Jing put the crystal bottle on a side table. Wang Shi took out 3 sticks of incense, and Prince Jing lit them himself. Then he approached the tablet and kowtowed 3 times. Liu entered the palace with Prince Jing. He looked around everywhere for the tiger plush, but he didn't see it. Because he couldn't do anything as a fish, he had no choice but to give up. He watched as Prince Jing paid respects to Empress Xiaohuai and couldn't help but think back to the family that Prince Jing had taken him to see in Chang'an Manor. Now he'd brought Liu to Changchun Palace. Emperor Xiaohuai was Prince Jing's mother. Realizing, Liu hurriedly bobbed his fish body. Following along with Prince Jing's movements, he bowed 3 times together. To everyone who knows what that means, woo! Because this was all so sudden, Liu wasn't prepared. All he could do was say silently, "Your Majesty, if you can hear me, please protect Prince Jing." From the corner of his eye, Prince Jing caught sight of Liu bobbing his head and tail. Yay, marriage! He immediately understood Liu's intentions and smiled, at peace. After the fish was done bowing, I'm just alluding to another time 3 bows are involved. He's definitely paying respects now. That is the intention. I'm just being silly. After the fish was done bowing, Prince Jing sat down to touch the fish. Liu could feel Prince Jing's heavy heart even through the bottle. What was it? Was he not rewarded? Did he get scolded instead? Your Highness, what's wrong? Wang Shi was a little worried, too. Prince Jing shook his head lightly and glanced outside. Wang Shi immediately understood what he meant. This was the palace. It wasn't a place to talk. That's really sad that it's supposed to be your home, and you have to actually be aware of where you are in order to talk. That'd be such a hard existence. Prince Jing sat long enough for a cup of tea, then led Wang Shi and Liu out of the place. It wasn't until they were back at the manor that Wang Shi and Liu found out that not only did the emperor not reward Prince Jing, he ordered Prince Jing to go live on the western border for a while. Or in other words, the emperor's reward for Prince Jing was for him to leave the city. How could that be? Liu didn't understand it. The emperor was clearly very happy when he saw the longevity made of fish and had even mentioned hanging Tang Yin's painting up in Qianqing Palace. Why had he suddenly gotten mad at Prince Jing? He couldn't find anything wrong. Was there a problem with his fish arrangement? Was it that he shouldn't have gone the extra mile to give the emperor the lotus? But if he hadn't and the fish had just scattered, the emperor would have been upset. Sob, it was too hard to guess at an emperor's thoughts of a fish. Liu was self-reflecting. Wang Shi also thought it was unfair. After he voiced a few complaints, Prince Jing ordered him to leave. Once Wang Gongong had left, the more Liu thought about it, the more he thought it was his fault. He could no longer stomach any more fish feed or pastries, and he couldn't help replaying all the details of the banquet in his head. He just didn't understand. While he was blaming himself, Liu saw Prince Jing had left a little lamp on by the window and was sitting there. The dark night made his young, handsome face seem slightly hazy. It was already dark. He'd had such an exhausting day, but Prince Jing wasn't resting. Perhaps, just like Liu, he couldn't figure it out and couldn't fall asleep. He couldn't continue like this. Liu shook his head and turned into a human where Prince Jing couldn't see. He walked to the window and called out apologetically, "Your Highness?" Prince Jing looked up at him, eyes full of smiles, and waved at him. Liu suddenly realized Prince Jing was there because he was waiting up for him, not because he was upset about today. Aw. Your Highness, I'm sorry. I tried my best. I don't know why things ended up like this. Liu mumbled in explanation, feeling very sorry for himself. Didn't all the novels say that fighting for the throne meant making the emperor happy? Why was it that he made the emperor happy, but it only backfired? Did the emperor suspect Prince Jing because he tried to get his favor? Why couldn't Liu share some of his luck in specific, slightly weird places for Prince Jing? Prince Jing saw that he'd misunderstood and shook his head. He patted Liu's hand, then pointed at the painting on the wall. Liu tried to guess for a while before he understood what Prince Jing meant. Prince Jing was saying it wasn't Liu's fault. Prince Jing had given a painting as well, after all. Liu sniffled and said uncertainly, "You don't blame me, Your Highness?" Prince Jing shook his head again, holding Liu's hands tighter. It was hard to say what he wanted through a few brief actions. Prince Jing kissed Liu on the lips, then put him on his lap. Liu was shocked. Prince Jing wanted to do that now? Unless he was afraid he wasn't coming back anymore, so he had to eat his fill? Just like how he suddenly went to Changchun Palace? Was he afraid he wouldn't be able to pay his respects anymore? Liu's heart was aching. Either way, the fish had nothing to give but himself. It wasn't a big deal to let Prince Jing have some fun. He steeled himself, wrapping his arms around Prince Jing's neck. Prince Jing paused a little at Liu's sudden initiative, then laughed like something had just occurred to him. He pushed Liu away from him slightly, held Liu's hand, and spread out a sheet of paper. Liu suddenly went bright red. So he didn't want to eat him. He wanted to write. Prince Jing wrote with his hand over Liu's. You've worked hard. You're very good. Don't worry. Father isn't mad at me. Really? Liu didn't quite believe him. Then why does the Emperor want your Highness to leave? In the book, the western border was a desolate, dangerous place and quite poor. There was no way the Emperor wanted Prince Jing to go on a vacation there, right? Father hasn't taken away my title yet, Prince Jing wrote down roughly, hinting at something. Liu mulled these words over in his head. His eyes brightened. Hasn't taken away my title yet. What did that mean? The Emperor was thoroughly disappointed with the second prince, not even leaving him the title of prince, only calling him the Marquis of An. None of the other princes were given proper titles either. Prince Jing's title was given to him out of regret and reassurance. If the Emperor was really angry and sent Prince Jing away in a fit of rage, he wouldn't let him keep his title. So, the Emperor ordered you to go to the western border not as punishment, but as... Liu was just about to say it when Prince Jing put a finger to his lips hurriedly and shushed him. The Emperor hadn't said anything. He'd just told him to go to the western border. He'd received more specific instructions when he got there. Prince Jing himself didn't get it either. He just inferred this from the fact that the Emperor still asked Lu Rusheng to see him out. He felt like he had the right idea, but he couldn't say it out loud. If the Emperor wanted him to go to the border, he had no chance but to go. Liu covered his mouth cooperatively, but his heart immediately started to jump. Since ancient times, if a father was kicking his son out not for punishment, then it was to test him. But why did the Emperor want to test Prince Jing? It must be because he had new hopes for him. In the past, the Emperor rarely interfered with Prince Jing's life because he didn't expect much from him, so he didn't care what Prince Jing did. Harsh. So now, he was hopeful. Going to the western border might not be a bad thing. Now that he'd figured it out, Liu's dismay turned to joy. Your Highness, when are you leaving? Prince Jing wrote, Soon, in a few days. You stay here. Wang Shi will take care of you. Though Prince Jing was fairly confident he'd figured out what the Emperor was thinking, the western border was a desperate place. He didn't want Xiao Yu to come with him. Besides, he was afraid the trip would be too much for Xiao Yu, so he wanted him to stay in the city. He hadn't pampered Xiao Yu enough yet. How could he let Xiao Yu go through such hardship with him? Liu couldn't believe he was going to be left behind. Holy shit, if Prince Jing was going to the western border, didn't that mean they were going to go through thick and thin? Hey, there's the mission name. No, Your Highness, he declared loudly. I'll go where you go. If you're going, we're going together. Oh, I was wrong about the chapters. We have one more left. Chapter 76. Fake Fishy Pregnancy. These titles are so funny. Liu wasn't afraid of hard times. He'd been prepared to go through thick and thin with Prince Jing for a long time. Since he'd transmigrated, apart from the very beginning when he'd nearly been eaten by the cat, he'd been taken care of by Prince Jing. So what if now he had to follow Prince Jing to a desolate place? He didn't have a home in this time period. It was Prince Jing who gave him somewhere to stay. Or, aka Liu gets himself in trouble. Liu thought of a very touching line. To me, he said, smiling, home is wherever your highness is. These two are just too cute. Prince Jing didn't expect him to say something like that. He touched Liu's cheek tenderly, his eyes flickering with emotion. Liu thought Prince Jing would feel touched and allow him to go to the western border with him. That way, he could complete the through thick and thin quest that he'd nearly forgotten about. But though Prince Jing was touched, he still refused. This was way too hard. He couldn't convince Prince Jing even with such beautiful language. He couldn't always use his body every single time. Oh, he got it. Liu suddenly had an idea. His man was someone with a sense of responsibility. Liu sniffled. Your Highness, I'm already with your child. You're still going to leave me here alone? No matter how resolute Prince Jing had been before, he was now thoroughly shocked by Liu's words. Looking at the person in his arms, pretending to be demure, Prince Jing thought his soul was floating away. I love how he instantly pulls out, like, the K-drama. But I'm carrying your baby! How could you leave me? I'm carrying your baby scenario. If he remembered correctly, he and Xiao Yu had not made it to the last step. Besides, Xiao Yu was male. If there were any other occasion, he'd just left. How could men get pregnant? But the problem was that Prince Jing knew Xiao Yu was not human. He was a carp spirit. Perhaps carp spirits were just different and a male fish could get pregnant? Prince Jing wanted to believe Liu. If Xiao Yu said he was, then he was. But Xiao Yu was a fish. He was human. So was he pregnant with a fish or a human? I bet in modern time, Liu was exactly the kind of guy who watched all the K-dramas. I totally could see it, yes. He definitely has that vibe. A human would be easier. If it were a fish... Prince Jing placed his palm carefully on Liu's belly. No matter what, that was his child in there. He wouldn't deny it. I love how even if it's a fish, it's still my baby. My non-existent baby. Liu had just been joking. Even though they'd never gone all the way, they'd done everything else, so they'd been quite intimate already. He refused to let Prince Jing leave him here, but he didn't think Prince Jing would take his joke seriously and touch his belly. Liu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Who would believe such nonsense? But Prince Jing did. If this misunderstanding continued, Prince Jing might even pick a name. Liu hurriedly apologized. Your Highness, I'm sorry. I was lying. I'm not pregnant. I was just kidding. There was only fish feed and pastries in this fish belly, no babies. Prince Jing looked up, gaze lost. You're not? Liu's heart ached at the emotion in his eyes, and he hugged him tightly. Your Highness, I'm a man. How could I... I'm sorry. I shouldn't have joked about something like that. I just want to be together with you. I don't want to be apart from you for even a second. Please don't be mad at me. It was a joke. Prince Jing smiled helplessly. Imagine Prince Jing presenting a baby fish to the Emperor and being all, this is my son. That would be amazing. I mean, we've got people nowadays where I just saw a picture the other day. He would, he so would. He would. Uh, Someone literally photoshopped their dog into an ultrasound picture, and it's like, this is my son. I birthed him. He would be that person with his fish. He really want that fish baby. That he does. If he didn't let the fish come with him, he'd pretend to be pregnant. He really didn't know what to do with this fish. Although he'd gotten his hopes up for nothing, Prince Jing wasn't angry. He patted the top of Liu's head. Oh, well, the situation in the capital was complex. If you left Xiao Yu behind by himself, he wouldn't be able to take care of him so far away at the western border. Besides, if Xiao Yu didn't mind going with him, what did he have to worry about? Prince Jing stopped rejecting Liu, but he didn't nod either. Despite that, Liu knew he succeeded because the system, which had been silent the last few days, gave him a new confirmation notification. The main quest, through thick and thin, is in progress. Please beware of your safety. It seemed like he was on the right track with going to the western border. He probably had to go there to complete the main quest. Because of the notification, Liu remembered the protagonist halo the system had mentioned in the past. These last few days, he'd been too busy worrying about Prince Jing, and he'd forgotten that Prince Jing would definitely ascend to the throne one day. Your Highness, no matter how dangerous it gets or how many obstacles stand in your future, don't worry, Liu chuckled, very confident. You will definitely achieve what you want, and I'll stay with you every step of the way. Prince Jing looked at him deeply, nodded, and pulled the fish that had changed his entire life into his arms. In Qianxing Palace, the emperor, dressed in bright yellow robes embroidered with dragons, stared at the crane and peach painting on the wall expressionlessly. He was thinking of something. After a while, he looked up at the person beside him. How is he? Head eunuch Luo had always been at the emperor's side, so of course he knew who the emperor was speaking of. Prince Jing seemed calm and went to Changchun Palace, he replied. He paid his respects to the empress with 3 sticks of incense, then went home. The servant heard Prince Jing's manner has already started packing up the prince's belongings. The emperor nodded, happy with Prince Jing's attitude. This son of his had never traveled far from home, and the emperor was worried about his safety. He told Luo Ruoshang, send 2 troops to follow him and secretly protect him. Luo Ruoshang agreed. The emperor stared at head eunuch Luo for a while, then said, Do you think I'm being too harsh, sending him to the western border despite being the happiest with his gift? That was exactly what Luo Ruoshang was thinking, but there was no way he would be brave enough to admit it. He said hurriedly, The servant doesn't dare have an opinion on the emperor's decision. You must have your reasons. The servant just has to do as you say. Good, the emperor smiled. So what if other people misunderstood his intentions? He didn't care. He liked Prince Jing's gift the most, and because of this gift, the emperor saw a bit of Prince Jing's ambition. After all, Prince Jing had given him his own calligraphy for many years now. He'd always been slightly cold towards the emperor. It was like an unspoken agreement between the two of them. But now, suddenly, Prince Jing was trying to appeal to the emperor. What did that mean? The emperor didn't even need to think about it. After all, this was something he had gone through himself. How could he not understand that Prince Jing was starting to make a bid for the throne? The emperor hadn't chosen a crown prince for a long time. It was only expected for his adult princes to have such thoughts. The emperor was at least aware of that much. If the second and third princes hadn't made mistakes, he had been willing to give them the chance. But this was Prince Jing. Aside from being surprised, the Emperor felt a bit of sadness and bitterness. In terms of status, no one deserved it more than Prince Jing. But because of his muteness, Prince Jing had lost his chance long ago. He always thought Prince Jing had accepted this fate. But now, it seemed he hadn't. Didn't this brat know he couldn't choose a mute prince to be the crown prince? Why was he still fighting? If this was before, the Emperor would have thought this was a huge joke. But during his birthday banquet, the Emperor realized the second prince had gone mad and the third prince was still colluding with officials while he was on house arrest. They'd both crossed the line. The only adult prince he would consider, or even could consider, was the sixth prince. Though the Emperor said he wasn't planning on picking a crown prince for now and wanted to see how the seventh and eighth princes fared in the future, they were still too young. It was hard to say what the future would hold. If the sixth prince wasn't suitable, then would he not consider Prince Jing at all? Prince Jing was mute, but compared to the idea of having no sons to choose from at all, the problem no longer seemed so important. As for his children, though the imperial physician said it was very possible Prince Jing would pass his muteness on to his children, it wasn't certain. It was still possible for Prince Jing to have children without that disability. The Emperor thought silently. He had 8 sons, and only one of them was mute. If it came down to it, if Prince Jing had 8 sons, at least one of them would not be mute, right? And so Prince Jing wasn't completely out of the question. If he took the muteness out of the equation, Prince Jing certainly didn't lose to the sixth prince or even the second prince from before. Now that he'd thought all this through, the Emperor was a little excited. He wanted to see exactly how far Prince Jing could go. But he had to do better than simply not losing to the other princes. If he was going to pick a mute son to be the crown prince, that son had to have other qualities that elevated him above the competition. The western border was messy, with battles and constantly plagued with disasters. The Emperor had always wanted to test the future crown prince there. Well, there wasn't a crown prince now. If Prince Jing wanted to fight for the throne, then Prince Jing could go. If he hit a wall, then he could give up and live his life peacefully. But if Prince Jing managed to solve such a mess... Your Highness, Prince Jing has already set out, Luo Rusheng said quietly. The Emperor was deep in thought and didn't answer. Luo Rusheng thought he'd spoken too quietly and repeated himself. The Emperor jolted out of his thoughts and ordered Luo Rusheng to find the sixth prince. He had a job for him, too. If one of the princes was able to control the western border, he'd consider making them the crown prince. If Prince Jing could do it, he would be considered as well. Prince Jing had already agreed to bring Li Yu with him. The guards, carriage, and luggage were all ready. He'd even prepared 10 crystal bottles. Fish food and fish tanks took up several carts. He said it would be a tough time, but no matter what, Prince Jing wasn't going to let his fish starve. With all of this prepared, Li Gonzi was still quite anxious and on edge. This time, he wasn't just going shopping with Prince Jing or going to buy antiques where he could maintain his human form just long enough. Prince Jing had calculated this trip. If they were quick, it'd take nearly a month. If they traveled at a normal pace, it'd take them around 2.5 months. For most of the time, Li Yu would have to be crammed into the carriage, eating and sleeping in the same space as Prince Jing. Squeezing together in the carriage, living and eating together. He could do all of those things as a fish, but he couldn't as a human. He could only maintain his human form for 2 hours a day. If he was going to be stuck with Prince Jing, how was he going to transform? Even if he managed to figure out how to transform, how was Li Gonzi suddenly going to vanish every day? When they were on the road, they were going to be surrounded by guards. If Li Gonzi really were to leave, he'd be spotted by them. But in reality, Li Gonzi was only pretending to leave. There was no way he could actually leave. As soon as that was found out, Liu's disguise would be revealed. So the only way was to try to stay a fish for as long as possible on the journey and only interact with Prince Jing as a fish. But Liu, the dumbass, didn't think things through when he was faced with the possibility of completing his quest. So he asked Prince Jing to take him along as a human. He was overconfidently shooting himself in the foot. Liu was so anxious. He asked for it himself, so he couldn't suddenly change his mind at the last moment. Prince Jing was definitely bringing Li Gonzi on this trip. He was definitely going to be living with Li Gonzi every day, taking bites out of Li Gonzi. That meant revealing his identity was an inevitable. That meant revealing his identity was an inevitability for Li Gonzi. Sob. Liu wasn't able to find a solution right up to the moment they were about to leave. Wang Shi prepared the carriage and helped Li Yu into it. Li Yu climbed into the carriage holding the crystal bottle, his heart heavy with worry, and nearly stumbled over his own feet. It was a good thing Prince Jing was quick enough to steady him. Prince Jing was about to get in the carriage as well, and Liu couldn't have been more nervous if he was seeing a countdown to his demise. Soon, Prince Jing entered the carriage too and looked at Liu, confirming that there was nothing wrong. Liu couldn't hide what he was feeling. Prince Jing smiled at the way he was trembling, then left. What? Prince Jing didn't get into the carriage again, only following along beside the carriage on his horse. Liu was confused. Was Prince Jing not going to get in? He lifted a corner of the curtain, wanting to ask someone, when he saw Wang Shi just outside. Wang Gong, what's going on? Wang Shi was going to the border too. Wang Gong wasn't getting into the carriage either. He was riding on a donkey on the other side. When he saw Liu peeking out, he hurried to ask him to sit down. Gonzi, sit properly. He tried not to laugh. His Highness was afraid it was too cramped for you since you're pregnant now. That carriage is for you alone. Please get some rest and take care of Master Fish. If you need anything, just call for me. This old servant is right outside. Wang Shi said all that, but he was laughing on the inside the entire time. How could a man get pregnant? This must be part of the Gonzi and Prince Jing's relationship, and Wang Gong was happy to play along. I love Wang Gong. As we've said before, he's the real MVP. Liu glared at Prince Jing for a while. Prince Jing returned the gaze, smiling. Why was his smile so offensive to his eyes? Huge asshole strikes again. To be honest, Prince Jing really did take care of him. Was he worried Liu would get bored and claustrophobic with an extra person in the carriage? Well, his identity certainly wouldn't be revealed if he had this carriage all to himself. The only way for Li Gonzi not to be discovered was to pretend to be pregnant. And that is the last line of book 2. And yes, Wang Gong does put up with so much truffle. He rolls with it. He doesn't just put up with it. He goes with it and rolls with it and makes it work. And it is so funny, Chi Kiki. But yeah, we did it. Book 2. We will start book 3 on Thursday. That's such a great way to end a book, right? Even the chapters, some of these chapters are really funny to see how they end them. Yes, now to book 3. It's on the stand. It's ready for Thursday. Yeah, it's a really good, sweet book. And I cannot wait for Thursday. But yeah. I posted up already the recommendations for today. And they are The War Gods Redo by GT Golden Trash Bag. And it's a shorter one, it's complete, and it's from Lu Chinga's point of view. So this is a Scum Villain one. When he dies and reincarnates back to his disciple days and decides to change things for the better, and is very unapologetically a Liu Shen story. It's short, it's sweet, it's funny. For the Model fic recommendation, I picked The Secondhand Unwinds by Truly Wicked, which is phenomenal. And it's an ongoing time travel fic that is heartbreakingly gorgeous and ridiculously well written. And as I stated in the comment, I come back to this one like every 3 months, or like when there's a new update, like I'll just reread the whole thing. So it's super, super good. Highly recommend it. Give it a look. But yeah, have a great rest of your evening to all of you that are here live, and have a wonderful day or evening to all of you who are listening later. Yeah, it's a rather prominent one. It's kind of one of those that like end up as the like TV tropes page. So I would not be surprised if you've read it, Truffle. Good night. Chi chi kiki. Good night, everybody. But yeah, enjoy. Thank you for coming. I'm glad you liked it. Night, night.